Chapter 858, Offended Someone Who Shouldn't Have Been Offended, Dog Food Manufacturer _5. Ni Yang nodded, it's very likely, I've already sent the sample for testing. 3 months later, we'll know the results, and the truth will be revealed. Firstly, Wu Yanyan's age matches with my second sister, and then she doesn't resemble the Wu couple, and the location also matches since they too are from Haicheng. Ni Tsuihua wiped her tears, no wonder I felt the child looked familiar, so she is indeed Erniu. Ni Yang continued, Mom, it's just a suspicion for now, nothing certain. Let's wait for the test results, and don't get your hopes too high. The higher the hopes, the greater the disappointment. If it turns out to be a misunderstanding, Ni Tsuihua would be devastated. Ni Yang needed to prepare precautionary measures. Upon hearing this, Ni Tsuihua calmed down a bit and then asked, where are they living now? I want to go see them. Ni Yang replied, they live in Building 78, Guicheng Garden, but I think you shouldn't disturb them for now. Let's wait until after the test results are out. Can I just take a quick peek without them noticing? Ni Tsuihua asked. Ni Yang hesitated, how about this, Uncle Wu's construction company will be launching soon. You can visit then, by that time, I will have recognized them as my godparents. Okay, Ni Tsuihua nodded. Time swiftly passed, and in the blink of an eye, 7 days had gone by. During this time, Ni Yang was studying the 13 ghost points technique while also helping Wu Jinshu lease a storefront. Wu Jinshu was busy decorating the storefront. One morning, Dr. Jiang came with his medical kit to check on grandmother Zheng's health. After the examination, Dr. Jiang smiled and said, Aching, I think you won't need me anymore. Why? Grandmother Zheng asked. Dr. Jiang replied, because you have fully recovered. It's really miraculous. Ever since your granddaughters returned, your health has improved daily. She truly is the lucky star of your family. Grandmother Zheng smiled, I think you are absolutely right, Xiaoyan. Ever since I met them, I feel no illness at all. Dr. Jiang looked around, seeing no one was nearby, he lowered his voice, how are Tingting and Lingling getting along? Any discord? None, Grandmother Zheng replied. They get along just like biological sisters, and even the children interact well together. This was something Grandmother Zheng was very pleased about. In ordinary families, such harmony might not be possible. Although last time, Zheng Xianjing was suspected of impersonating Mr. Du's lifesaver, she had sincerely apologized, and that issue was now resolved. Dr. Jiang nodded, that's good. Tingting and Lingling are blood-related cousins, and their getting along so well is within my expectations. After speaking, Dr. Jiang continued, Aching, you now essentially have 2 daughters, have you thought about how you will divide the inheritance? Grandmother Zheng smiled, I've always been fair and won't favor one over the other. Although Lingling is not my biological child, she is no different from my own. I've said it before, when the time comes, it will be half for each child. Upon hearing this, Zheng Lingling, who was about to approach, stopped in her tracks. Half for each. This damn old woman really had the nerve to say it. If she had said a 20-80 split, Zheng Lingling would have accepted without a word. But now it was a 50-50 split. She had spent nearly half her life taking care of these 2 people, and Ni Tsuihua had only returned a few days ago. What right did Ni Tsuihua have to share the Zheng family's wealth equally with her? Even suggesting a 20-80 split was her being generous. In her opinion, the Zheng family's wealth should not go to Ni Tsuihua at all. Dr. Jiang replied, that's certainly a fair approach, but will your Tingting agree? After all, you are her biological mother, would she be willing to share equally with Lingling? Grandmother Zheng smiled, don't worry about that. Tingting is a good child, she doesn't care about the part she gets. Dr. Jiang responded, that's good. Zheng Lingling's features contorted. Ni Tsuihua is a good child? Was this damn old woman implying that she was not? No. She couldn't wait any longer. Zheng Lingling clutched the tray in her hands, her knuckles turning slightly white from the force. When Dr. Jiang left the Zheng family's house, Zheng Lingling chased after him. "Aunt Jiang, wait a moment." "What is it?" Dr. Jiang turned around. Zheng Lingling said, "Dr. Jiang, I've been having severe headaches lately, do you have any painkillers?" Chapter 859, Offended Someone Who Shouldn't Have Been Offended, Dog Food Manufacturer _6. Does it hurt in waves? Dr. Jiang asked. Yeah. Zheng Lingling nodded. Then let's walk and talk, Dr. Jiang said. Okay. Zheng Lingling followed Dr. Jiang's steps. Lingling, your mom is almost fully recovered now. I probably won't be visiting your house much anymore, Dr. Jiang said. That soon? Zheng Lingling frowned slightly. Dr. Jiang nodded, it's a good thing that your mom is getting better. Zheng Lingling then said, please give me the painkillers quickly. Dr. Jiang searched through her box and found a box of medicine, remember, 2 pills at a time. Okay. Dr. Jiang continued, today your mom said she would leave you half of her estate. What do you think? The mention of this made Zheng Lingling angry. All these years, I have been the one by her side. But when it comes to dividing the property, she sure doesn't forget her biological daughter. Dr. Jiang frowned, if she has promised to leave you half, it makes sense. After all, blood is thicker than water, and bones may break but the sinews still hold. I'm afraid, Auntie Jiang, what do you mean? Dr. Jiang went on, I've been sisters with your mom my entire life, there were no secrets between us. But ever since Tingting returned, she hasn't been as open with me as before. Zheng Lingling asked impatiently, Auntie Jiang, what do you mean by that? Dr. Jiang said, like the paternity test, and the fact that Ni Yang knows medical skills, she paused, then continued, but Lingling, don't worry too much. Ni Yang is a doctor, sure, but she practices traditional Chinese medicine. It has nothing to do with mental health. Zheng Lingling nodded. She wasn't worried about Ni Yang. Just a teenager, how skilled in medicine could she be? Dr. Jiang continued, I suspect your mom is deceiving me. She doesn't really want to divide half of the property with you. After all, you're not her biological child. She wants to leave all the wealth to her biological daughter, which is natural human sentiment. Zheng Lingling bit her lip, what should I do then? Everything in the Zheng family was hers. She was not willing to be so easily robbed. Dr. Jiang took out another box of headache pills from her medical kit. Some things are better dealt with sooner rather than later. Don't underestimate a headache as a small issue. If it drags on for long, it can turn into a big problem. Life is unpredictable, who knows what might happen tomorrow. Zheng Lingling took the box and nodded solemnly, got it, Auntie Jiang. I understand. Today was the grand opening of Wu Jinshu's construction company. The name of the construction company was chosen by Ni Yang. Jianghu Construction Company, Limited. As the sole investor, Ni Yang, of course, couldn't miss the opening day. At 8 in the morning, Ni Yang and Ni Tsuihua arrived at the company on time. The more Ni Tsuihua looked at Wu Yenyun, the more she felt Wu Yenyun was her second daughter. Her eyes began to moisten. How hard it must have been for her to grow up so big, being thrown away so young. Poor child, she hadn't even had the chance to drink milk since she was little. Wu Yenyun noticed Ni Tsuihua kept looking at her and feeling somewhat embarrassed, said, Auntie, do you have something you want to tell me? Nothing, nothing. Ni Tsuihua immediately came back to her senses, I was just deep in thought. The opening ceremony was simple, they set off firecrackers and cut a ribbon. There was only a month left for exams, so after cutting the ribbon, Ni Yang didn't idle either, rushing to school non-stop. She had 2 exams that day. By the time she left school, it was already after 5 in the afternoon. Ni Yang slowly walked on the road, her shadow elongated by the setting sun. Just at that moment, Screech. Suddenly, a sound of tires abruptly halting filled the air, and by the time Ni Yang looked up, a black sedan was already calmly stopped in front of her. Whose car is this, so thoughtless? Ni Yang was just about to kick it when the car door swung open, and a tall and upright figure emerged, with the dying light of the sunset shrouding his features, making them somewhat indistinct. Ni Yang was momentarily stunned before she could react, and by then she was already seized by an imperious force. Yang. He buried his head in her neck and deeply inhaled the lingering scent of her hair. Brother Mo. Ni Yang wrapped her arms around him. Thinking about it, it had been almost half a year since she last saw Mo Qishan. Ouch! After hugging for a bit, Ni Yang pushed him away with her hands, expressing her disdain. Brother Mo, how long has it been since you shaved? Did it hurt you? Mo Qishan looked worried. Only then did Ni Yang notice the blue stubble on his chin, adding a bit more manliness to his appearance. Ni Yang couldn't help but reach out and touch it, finding the sensation novel, like a tingling electric shock. Tisk, tsk, how busy have you been? How does it feel? Mo Qishan gripped her hand. Not great, it's prickly, Ni Yang said with a face full of disdain. Let's get in the car and talk. Mo Qishan guided her to the back seat. Wu Daming took the initiative to greet her, sister-in-law number 6. Seeing Wu Daming, who was shiny black, Ni Yang laughed. Wu Daming, have you been on a vacation to F continent? Wu Daming turned around in surprise. Sister-in-law, how did you figure it out? But I didn't go to F continent for a vacation. It's your teeth, Ni Yang replied. Wu Daming was somewhat confused. Ni Yang continued, I suggest that if you go out at night, remember to smile more. Why? Wu Daming touched the back of his head. Ni Yang smiled and said, use your teeth to blind them, otherwise it's too dark and no one can see you. Wu Daming, not only had he darkened, but why did everyone have to laugh at him too? A few minutes later, Wu Daming realized that being laughed at by Ni Yang wasn't the worst. Being force-fed dog food, that was the worst. He was still a kid, why did he have to endure such an assault of love? Those two people in the back seat were really too much. After about 15 minutes, the car stopped in front of a villa. Once out of the car, Ni Yang said in surprise, why are we here? Weren't we going to my place? Mo Qishan said, with my disheveled appearance, it's not suitable for me to go to your house. What if our mom disapproves and won't let you marry me? Ni Yang raised her eyebrows slightly, I'm not planning to marry you right now anyway. Fine, then I'll marry you. Mo Qishan shamelessly wrapped his arm around Ni Yang's waist. Yang, you've lost weight. Have I? You really have, I can feel it, Mo Qishan said as he tightened his hold. As they talked, the two of them had already entered the villa. No sooner had the door closed than Mo Qishan pinned her against it with a reversed hand, and then leaned down for a kiss. The blue stubble prickled against her fair skin, a bit painful, yet Mo Qishan couldn't bring himself to let go so soon after such a long time apart. After a while, Ni Yang pushed him away. Go shave now. Chapter 860, Can you get first place like this? Mo Qishan went to the bathroom to take a shower and shave. Ni Yang, having nothing better to do, sat on the couch to watch TV. At this time, there weren't many channels available on TV, but the programs being broadcast were future classics. Playing on TV right now was the 1985 version of Ji Gong, although there were only 8 episodes of it currently. Ni Yang hadn't really watched Ji Gong before, but she found it quite interesting now. By the time Mo Qishan emerged from the washroom, half an hour had passed. Let's go, Ni Yang said, reaching to turn off the TV when she saw Mo Qishan come out. While fastening the buttons on his shirt, Mo Qishan asked, is Mom still staying at Grandma's place? Yep. Ni Yang reached out to pinch Mo Qishan's face. Saying Mom and Grandma so smoothly, big brother Mo, I've found your skin is getting thicker and thicker. Mo Qishan grinned cheekily, my skin is so thick, did it hurt your hand? What do you think? Ni Yang raised her eyebrows slightly. I guess it must have hurt, let me rub it for you. Mo Qishan took Ni Yang's hand. Big brother Mo, I beg you to be a bit more human. The two chatted as they walked away. Wu Daming had already returned home, and Ni Yang took the keys from Mo Qishan, "I'll drive." Mo Qishan was a little surprised, you know how to drive? He hadn't known that Ni Yang could drive, even after knowing her for so long. Of course, Ni Yang said with a touch of haughty pride, is there anything your brother Yang can't do? At first, Mo Qishan thought Ni Yang was just boasting until she successfully started the car. Only then did he realize that Ni Yang wasn't joking. This Ni Yang, she may seem aloof and reticent ordinarily, but only Mo Qishan knew she had a playful side hidden in her bones. And she liked to brag a bit. Buckle up, Ni Yang said, her hand on the steering wheel, glancing sideways at Mo Qishan. The light from the street lamps cast the shadow of her eyelashes across her nose bridge in a strangely cool pose. Mo Qishan swallowed unconsciously, oh. After Mo Qishan buckled up, he realized that Ni Yang could not only drive, but she drove with incredible skill. It made Mo Qishan almost think Ni Yang could take the car to the sky. With turns, consecutive turns, sharp turns, she never slowed down, yet the ride was as smooth as if on flat ground. What should have been a 30-minute drive took less than 5 minutes to arrive at the Zheng family's front gate. Ni Yang stopped the car and switched off the ignition, whistled cheerfully at Mo Qishan, how about that, am I, brother Yang, awesome or what? Mo Qishan nodded slightly, awesome, truly awesome. Brother Yang is too cool, truly worthy of being my wife. Such nerve. Mo Qishan got out of the car right behind her, taking the gifts brought back from F country from the back of the car, and they walked towards the villa together. Zheng Xianjing had the day off from school and had come home early. Just as she came down the stairs, she saw a figure coming through the door. Against the light, she couldn't quite make out his features, yet a powerful aura surrounded him, instilling a sense of inferiority in those who saw him. Who could this be? Although she couldn't quite see his face clearly, Zheng Xianjing could sense that this was no ordinary person. Perhaps it was Mr. Mog. The Mo and Zheng families were extremely close, so it was unsurprising for Baichuan to visit the Zheng family. Zheng Xianjing narrowed her eyes and subconsciously brushed her hair behind her ears, straightened her back, and walked downstairs. The features of his face gradually became visible in the darkness. Thin, sharp lips like paper cuts, narrow and long phoenix eyes brimming with a cold gleam, and features as flawlessly carved as fine artistry, especially those deep and heavy eyes, bottomless as if they were vast stars. She recognized who it was. The next second, all traces of a smile vanished from Zheng Xianjing's face. It was Mo Qishan. How could such a fine appearance be wasted on a ne'er-do-well like Mo Qishan? Regret and disgust flickered across Zheng Xianjing's eyes as she snorted and walked past him with her nose in the air. For a good-for-nothing like Mo Qishan, even the right to hold her shoes was unattainable. Mo Qishan's face remained expressionless as he continued walking in. Xiaoma. Ni Tsuhua was surprised to see Mo Qishan, when did you get back? Mo Qishan replied, Auntie, I just got back home this afternoon. Laughing, Ni Tsuhua said, come on in, and, by the way, where's Yang Yang? Did you see her? Mo Qishan answered, Yang Yang was supposed to come in with me, but she felt a bit unwell the moment we were entering the door, so she went to the washroom. Chapter 861, Can you get first place like this? _2. Mo Qishan handed the items in his hand to Ni Tsuhua. These are the gifts I brought from F country for Grandpa Zheng, Grandma Zheng, and you and Uncle. Ni Tsuhua smiled and said, you child, coming here is enough, why bring gifts? Grandpa Zheng and Grandma Zheng also liked Mo Qishan very much. Although Mo Kishan's reputation wasn't good, he was truly good to Ni Yang and, based on their understanding of him over time, Mo Kishan wasn't as difficult as the rumors suggested. As long as Ni Yang had no objections, neither did they as the elders. Soon after, Ni Yang walked in from outside. That evening, after Mo Kishan had some drinks, Ni Yang drove him home. This time she didn't speed but drove leisurely. The car didn't have the air conditioning on, all the windows were down, and a gentle breeze flowed in, making it pleasantly refreshing. While driving, Ni Yang started discussing Wu Yenyun with Mo Kishan. Mo Kishan said, "If she really is your second sister, then your third and fourth sisters must still be around too." Ni Yang nodded, hopefully. "By the way, tomorrow is Sunday. I just recognized Yanyun's parents as my godparents, so how about I take you to visit them tomorrow?" "Sure." Despite the slow speed of the car, it didn't take long to arrive at the Mo family's house. Since they were already there, Ni Yang went in with Mo Kishan, planning to greet Mr. and Mrs. Mo. Seeing Ni Yang, Mr. and Mrs. Mo were very happy. "Yang is here. Come in, come in. We just got a few kilograms of green husk lychees this afternoon from Officer Wu, and I saved half for you, planning to send them over in a couple of days." Ni Yang loved lychees, and hearing they were green husk lychees excited her even more. "Are they guelu from Zhengcheng?" Yes, the guelu from Zhengcheng. They're very sweet and even seedless. Green husk lychees were the most expensive among lychee varieties. Ni Yang remembered once, in her previous life, a single green husk lychee was auctioned for a record high price of 550,000. After many years, tasting green husk lychees again transported Ni Yang momentarily back to the future. Mo Kishan peeled the lychees and placed them on a plate, one after another, quickly filling up a large plate. Ni Yang hurriedly said, Okay, big brother Mo, I can't eat that much after dinner. Do you not want to eat pomegranate? Mo Kishan picked up a pomegranate. Ni Yang shook her head, no. Mo Kishan smiled and asked, Is there any fruit you don't eat? Ni Yang responded, Pomegranates require spitting out seeds, it's too much hassle. Lychees are more convenient. Mo Kishan smiled, took a pomegranate, and slowly started peeling it, his handsome hands clearly defined against the bright red pomegranate, making them particularly striking. Hearing the noise downstairs, Xiao Yingying immediately ran down. She had been staying at the Mo family's house for the past few days, hoping to meet Mr. Mog, so she always rushed over whenever there were visitors at the Mo family's house to see if it was Mr. Mog. Seeing Mo Kishan, Xiao Yingying's face couldn't hide her disappointment. Xiao Yingying, like an eggplant hit by frost, didn't even want to greet Mo Kishan and listlessly walked back upstairs. Mr. and Mrs. Mo didn't like Xiao Yingying much either. Because the girl lacked manners, barely greeting them and always acting as if someone owed her millions. If she wasn't Mo Baichuan's cousin, they would have kicked her out long ago. Just then, noises sounded from outside. Mrs. Mo stood up and said, It must be Baichuan coming back, I'll go have a look. Sure enough, it was Mo Baichuan. Mo Baichuan had been staying at the base, and he hadn't expected to see Mo Kishan and Ni Yang upon his return. Your Uncle Six came back today, and Yang is here too. Go greet them. Okay. Mo Baichuan took off his white gloves and walked into the living room. Uncle Six. Mo Kishan nodded slightly, my nephew is back. Didn't you see your Aunt Six? Ni Yang greeted, nephew, would you like some lychees? What was this back and forth exchange about? Mo Baichuan frowned, I don't eat them. Oh. Ni Yang didn't say anything more and continued eating lychees, just being polite. Mo Baichuan then asked, when did Uncle Six get home? Chapter 862, Can you get first place like this? _3. I just returned this afternoon, Mo Kishan said. Mo Baichuan glanced at Mo Kishan, then continued, has Uncle Six been very busy outside lately? Asking a universally acknowledged useless man if he has been busy is practically the same as mockery. In fact, Mo Baichuan couldn't be bothered to mock this worthless Uncle Six. He wanted to see how Ni Yang would react. How could Ni Yang not be tired after acting with Mo Qishan for so long? Mo Qishan's thin lips curled slightly, his hands still peeling a pomegranate. So. What has Uncle Six been busy with outside? Mo Baichuan promptly asked. Trade secrets. Upon hearing this, the mockery in Mo Baichuan's eyes deepened. Trade secrets? Such words might pass if they came from someone else's mouth, but coming from Mo Qishan, they were truly bizarre. No wonder Mo Qishan's reputation outside was so poor. Since it's a trade secret, then I won't pry. As he spoke, Mo Baichuan's gaze swept past Ni Yang. Ni Yang was just like before, her attention entirely on the plate of gleaming, jade-white lychees as if she hadn't spared him a glance from start to finish. Had she really not looked at him? Mo Baichuan narrowed his eyes, then turned to look at Grandfather Mo and Grandmother Mo before continuing, Grandpa, Grandma, I plan to get engaged to Jingrong soon. As Grandfather Mo was drinking tea, he sprayed out all the tea in his mouth upon hearing this. What did you say? Grandmother Mo was also startled. Baichuan, marriage is no trivial matter. You can't just do whatever comes to your mind. Mo Baichuan was also at the age suitable for marriage and having children. Under normal circumstances, hearing such news, the two elders would certainly be very happy. But now, they couldn't be less happy. After all, Mo Baichuan's intended fiancé was Zhao Jingrong. The outside world knew that Zhao Jingrong was once Mo Qishan's fiancé. If Mo Baichuan really got engaged to Zhao Jingrong, what would the outside world think of the Mo family? Mo Baichuan then said, Jingrong and I have been together for such a long time, I know she is a very good girl, so I want to settle the matter sooner rather than later. Claiming the engagement was a spur-of-the-moment decision. He wanted to provoke Ni Yang. Upon hearing he was to get engaged to Zhao Jingrong, Ni Yang definitely couldn't hold back. Grandfather Mo wiped his mouth with a tissue. Baichuan, calm down, Zhao Jingrong is not a good match. Mo Baichuan looked up at Grandfather Mo, Grandpa, Jingrong is my girlfriend, I know better than you whether she is a good match or not. In the time Mo Baichuan had spent with Zhao Jingrong, she was gentle, considerate, kind, a very qualified girlfriend. Grandfather Mo sighed. Grandmother Mo hesitated, then spoke, Baichuan, Zhao Jingrong, she used to, are you trying to say that Jingrong was once Uncle Six's fiancé? Mo Baichuan said. Yes, Grandmother Mo nodded, you know that's good. All these circumstances, I need not say more, you should be very clear, right? Grandmother Mo truly looked down upon Zhao Jingrong. Mo Baichuan's eyebrows furrowed slightly as he continued, the reason Jingrong broke off the engagement with Uncle Six is that Uncle Six had no ability to keep her. Moreover, she and Uncle Six were initially betrothed as children, and it's been so many years since such practices were abolished. Child engagements are already null and void, and Jingrong has the right to choose her happiness. You and Grandpa can't dismiss her as a good girl just because she broke off the engagement with Uncle Six. Grandmother Mo wanted to say something more, but Grandfather Mo raised his hand, all right, you want to get engaged to her, right? Then get engaged. We won't interfere with this matter, but let me say something beforehand. Please speak, Mo Baichuan said. Grandfather Mo continued, since you have decided to get married, don't think about getting divorced later. Our Mo family can't afford to lose face like that. You can count on me, Mo Baichuan said, full of conviction. Grandfather Mo's expression was a bit gloomy, but in front of Ni Yang, who had been Mo Qishan's fiancé, it wasn't good to blast her openly. What if it scared the future daughter-in-law? Ni Yang didn't want to get involved in Mo Baichuan's business and, moreover, Mo Baichuan was too conceited. If she stayed any longer, he would likely get the wrong idea again, so she proposed to leave. Besides, she wasn't suited for staying in such a situation. "I'll take you," Mo Chishan said, packing the peeled pomegranate into a bag. Leaving? Mo Baichuan looked up at Ni Yang. Was Ni Yang feeling jealous, so she decided to leave? Chapter 863, Can you get first place like this? _4. So, was Ni Yang's next step to figure out a way to sabotage his engagement with Zhao Jingrong? Watching Ni Yang's retreating figure only made Mo Baichuan more determined to get engaged to Zhao Jingrong. Although he had not discussed the engagement with Zhao Jingrong, he knew she would definitely not object. After all, Zhao Jingrong was so infatuated with him. Zhao Jingrong and Ni Yang were the same kind of person, yet they were also different. At least Zhao Jingrong dared to admit her feelings, while Ni Yang refused to openly acknowledge hers, only resorting to underhanded tactics behind the scenes. But for some reason, he still found his gaze involuntarily drawn to Ni Yang. Sometimes, Mo Baichuan felt like he was being unfair to Zhao Jingrong. Because he had always been using Zhao Jingrong, he wanted to use Zhao Jingrong to expose Ni Yang. Mo Chishan walked Ni Yang to the door. "Yang, let me drive you back, I'm not comfortable with you going alone." Ni Yang laughed, "Brother Mo, I brought you here, then you drive me back, and then I bring you here again, back and forth like this, do we even need to sleep tonight?" Mo Chishan handed the bag he was carrying to Ni Yang, "Then take this." "What's this?" Ni Yang was curious. "It's pomegranate. I've peeled it for you," Mo Chishan said. Ni Yang declined, "I don't want it, even though you've peeled the skin, there are still seeds inside, too lazy to eat." Ni Yang really liked to eat fruit, but she was particularly lazy. Fruits with lots of seeds like watermelon and pomegranate, she didn't want to bother with. Spitting out seeds was too much trouble. Mo Chishan laughed, "I've removed the seeds inside as well." Ni Yang was surprised, "Really? Really?" Ni Yang fished out a pomegranate seed from the bag and tried it, "Oh my gosh. Brother Mo, you're amazing. How did you peel it like this?" She never knew that pomegranate could be seedless. Mo Chishan humbly replied, "Actually, I didn't know how before either, it was all thanks to the boss' good training." On finishing, he continued, "Boss, I've done such a great job, don't you want to reward me? And maybe give me a kiss as well? How about I give you a slap as a bonus?" Ni Yang raised her eyebrows slightly. Mo Chishan, the next day, Ni Yang took Mo Chishan to the Wu family. Mo Chishan was very adept at handling situations, knowing the Wu family had many children. He specifically bought a lot of White Rabbit creamy candies and teddy bear biscuits, as well as several cans of milk powder. "Godfather and godmother, this is my boyfriend, Mo Chishan." Ni Yang took the initiative to introduce Mo Chishan to Wu Jinshu and Yan Erju. Wu Jinshu and Yan Erju were both stunned. They didn't expect Ni Yang to have a boyfriend already. Mo Chishan reined in his sharp aura and politely said, "Godfather and godmother, you can just call me Xiaoma." "Xiaoma, come, take a seat. The house is a bit chaotic with so many kids around, don't mind the mess." Yan Erju was the first to recover. After a while of playing, Wu Yenyun came back with her two brothers. Seeing Mo Chishan, Wu Yenyun froze, with only 4 words in her mind. Astonishingly beautiful. Throughout her life, she'd never seen anyone as good-looking as Mo Chishan. He was like a noble prince who had stepped out of royalty. Elegant and profound. Unapproachable. Ni Yang said, "Brother Mo, this is Yenyun, and these are her 2 brothers, Dalong and Erlong. Yenyun, this is my boyfriend, Mo Chishan." Hearing Ni Yang's introduction, Wu Yenyun quickly snapped back to reality, "Nice to meet you, brother-in-law." No wonder he was so handsome, he was Ni Yang's boyfriend. In Wu Yenyun's mind, only someone like Mo Chishan deserved Ni Yang. Mo Chishan nodded slightly, "Hello. Wu Dalong and Wu Erlong followed suit with their greetings. Mo Qishan had brought them lots of tasty treats, and the two little guys really liked their new brother-in-law. After having lunch at the Wus, Ni Yang and Mo Qishan left. In the car, Ni Yang asked, "So, what do you think, does she look like my sister?" Mo Qishan nodded, "A bit similar, but not as beautiful as you." Ni Yang had the classic peach blossom eyes, while Wu Yenyun had round apricot-shaped eyes. Both had very fair skin, and their temperaments were somewhat alike, but lacking that naturally effortless charm. "You're just smooth talking. You won't know if I'm sweet until you taste it." Mo Qishan didn't give Ni Yang a chance to reject him and leaned in for a kiss. Actually, Ni Yang had noticed, Mo Qishan really liked to kiss her, and his hands were always wandering. Chapter 864, Can You Get First Place Like This? _5. But Ni Yang wasn't put off. After all, Mo Qishan was a very normal man. A little physical playfulness was only natural for a boyfriend and girlfriend, otherwise, it would be strange. Although Mo Qishan was often playfully physical, he was always very polite and never crossed the line. After a while, Mo Qishan continued, "Where do you want to go this afternoon?" "I'm going nowhere in particular, what about you?" Ni Yang glanced sideways at him. "Since you've got nowhere to go, then come with me to a place," Mo Qishan said. "Sure," Ni Yang replied curiously, "Where are you taking me?" Mo Qishan's thin lips slightly curled, "To sell you." Ni Yang raised an eyebrow indifferently, "How much do you plan to sell me for?" 2 cents, Mo Qishan glanced at Ni Yang, "Can't add any more." "I think you just need some training." Ni Yang stretched out her hand to pinch his face. His face turned red from her pinch, yet Mo Qishan didn't even frown. Instead, he smiled and said, "Go harder, it doesn't hurt at all." Ni Yang, after a while, Mo Qishan went on, "I want to take you to a brother's place." "Brother? Your older brother?" Ni Yang asked. Mo Qishan shook his head, "Not a blood brother, but he has done me a great favor, closer than a real brother, lived in Shanghai for many years, and only recently came to Beijing. Remember to save me some face in front of others later." "Don't worry," Ni Yang nodded. Before long, their car arrived at the destination. Ni Yang was amused. "Isn't this where Brother Du lives?" "Big brother Mo, does your brother live here?" Ni Yang asked. Mo Qishan nodded. "Is his name Du Chengfeng?" Ni Yang queried. Mo Qishan expressed surprise, "How did you know?" Ni Yang said with a smile, "What a coincidence, I know him too." Ni Yang briefly told Mo Qishan about how she knew Du Chengfeng. Hearing this, Mo Qishan said with a smile, "Brother Du will surely be surprised to see you." Ni Yang nodded, "I guess so." The two arrived at Demingxian. The butler here recognized Mo Qishan, and seeing Ni Yang with Mo Qishan, the butler was somewhat surprised. "Isn't she the one Brother Du fancied? And now she's with Mo Qishan?" When they arrived, Brother Du was sitting in the Buddha hall reciting scriptures and striking a wooden fish. Ni Yang mused to herself that this man really lives like a monk. "Brother Du," Mo Qishan walked inside. Hearing the voice of an old friend, Brother Du immediately stood up, "Pei Ji." "Pei Ji?" Ni Yang frowned slightly, unaware that Mo Qishan had this name. Mo Qishan went over and hugged Brother Du. It was then that Brother Du saw Ni Yang following behind into the room, his gaze shifting. "Brother Du, you still look the same." Brother Du twirled his Buddha beads, "You haven't changed either." Mo Qishan then said, "Oh, Brother Du, let me introduce you, this is my girlfriend, Ni Yang. I hear you two know each other." "Girlfriend?" Brother Du's expression remained unchanged. "I didn't expect Ni Yang to be your girlfriend." He had wondered before what kind of boyfriend a woman like Ni Yang would choose. But he never thought her boyfriend would turn out to be his close friend. He even thought, given Mo Qishan's nature, he might never marry. Suddenly, he had a girlfriend. With that said, Brother Du teased, "You're quite the lucky man." Mo Chishan smiled, "Yang, come over and greet him." Brother Du, Yang approached. Since Mo Chishan called Brother Du that way, it was obviously not proper for her to call him Du Qingfeng or Mr. Du anymore. Little did she expect that her impromptu rescue last time had saved someone from her own circle. The Buddha Hall is not a suitable place for conversation, let's move over there, Brother Du gestured invitingly. Alright, Mo Chishan, holding Yang's hand, followed Brother Du's lead. The three made their way to the tea room, where Brother Du poured tea for them. The tea room was elegantly decorated, filled with antiques and furniture all crafted from precious agarwood. The air was perfumed with not just the scent of sandalwood but also with a subtle fragrance of agarwood. It was a style Yang liked. The first day I came to Beijing, I faced danger. Fortunately, I encountered Yang. If it weren't for her, I would have been dismembered by now. This cup of tea, I toast to you and Yang. Brother Du raised his teacup. Brother Du, you're too polite, we're all family here, Mo Chishan said. Brother Du continued, Pei Ji, when did you get back? I just came back yesterday, Mo Chishan replied. Brother Du set his cup down, I see you two seem ready for good news, planning to get married soon? Chapter 865, Can you get first place like this? _6. Everything depends on Yang, Mo Chishan sipped his tea. Du Jiaojiao understood Mo Chishan very well. Hearing this, he knew Mo Chishan had completely fallen for her. The kind that couldn't be pulled back. Yang smiled and said, I haven't even taken the college entrance exam yet, let's talk about everything after it's over. At her words, a quick flash of light passed through Mo Chishan's deep eyes, you have your exams in a month. Yang continued, and that's also pending your own evaluation. Mo Chishan didn't care that Du Jiaojiao was still there, and blurted out, Chief, I haven't passed the evaluation yet? That depends on my mood. Mo Chishan, then when will you be in a good mood? Du Jiaojiao, twirling his Buddha beads, spoke in a faint tone, Pei Ji, Yang is still young. Don't press her too hard. And don't bully her. Yang nodded, Brother Du is right. Mo Chishan said with a sense of grievance, Brother Du, you think too much. How dare I bully her? It's always been her bullying me, Du Jiaojiao nodded slightly, I see that. After chatting for a while, Mo Chishan continued, after Yang's college entrance exams, I might need to go out for a bit. While I'm away, it'll trouble Brother Du to take extra care of Yang. Mo Chishan and Du Jiaojiao were comrades in arms. He was very clear about the kind of person Du Jiaojiao was and he also trusted him completely. Du Jiaojiao was influential, as long as he agreed, he would surely protect Yang. Of course, Du Jiaojiao nodded. On the way back, Yang asked Mo Chishan, are you really that comfortable leaving me with another man? Mo Chishan smiled and said, I've known Brother Du for almost 10 years. I understand his character well, don't worry, he won't have any other intentions toward you. Yang raised an eyebrow slightly, I heard from Sister Jiaojiao that he has 2 concubines. Ever since she met Du Jiaojiao at Demingxian, Yang had seen her several times. Upon learning that Du Jiaojiao had 2 concubines, Yang had labeled him, a philandering womanizer. What kind of era was it that people still took 2 concubines? Mo Chishan nodded, Brother Du does indeed have 2 concubines, but that's just the surface and it doesn't define Brother Du's character. It might be related to his early experiences. Du Jiaojiao, who had seen all walks of life, never believed in love or romantic affairs, devoting himself entirely to Buddhism, much like a monk. Over the years, no one had really caught Du Jiaojiao's eye. Even a fairy, in Du Jiaojiao's view, was no different from an ordinary person. To put it bluntly, Du Jiaojiao would never fall for a woman in his lifetime. Surface appearances? Yang asked with confusion, what do you mean? Mo Qishan continued, Brother Du is the powerful Du Jiaojiao known throughout the area and naturally can't show his true feelings, so, those two concubines at home are nothing but a facade to throw opponents off. Ni Yang furrowed her brows slightly, you mean, all this is fake? Mo Qishan nodded, Brother Du has never been a womanizer. Ni Yang was a bit shocked, so I misunderstood him. But if that's the case, those two widowed concubines are really quite pitiful. Mo Qishan nearly choked on his own saliva. His wife sure spoke bluntly. They each get what they need, Mo Qishan continued. Brother Du needs them to mislead others, they need Brother Du's power. Being kept in Brother Du's residence ensures not only their lives are carefree, but also that their families rise in fortune as well. Ni Yang nodded slightly, that makes sense. Mo Qishan continued, so if you need anything, you can go directly to Brother Du. Ni Yang smiled and said, I shouldn't be able to trouble him with much. I know how capable you are, Mo Qishan pulled her into his arms. But Brother Du doesn't have many relatives or friends here, so if you have time, you could visit him in my place. Ni Yang pinched his nose, aren't you afraid I might run off with your Brother Du? Not scared, Mo Qishan continued. Brother Du has suffered a lot in his early years, he has experienced all facets of life, except warmth. If you visit often, you can at least keep him company and chat. In the case of anyone else, Mo Qishan would not dare take such a risk, but Du Jiaojiao was different. Ni Yang nodded, okay, I understand. So it's just about offering warmth? I'm really good at that. Ni Yang often visited nursing homes in her past life to bring warmth to the lonely elderly, such tasks were a piece of cake for her. Half a month before the college entrance exam, there was a mock exam. During the last two subjects, Ni Yang felt a bit unwell, left many questions unanswered, and left the exam room early. When the results came out, Ni Yang still ranked first in her year. With a total score of 650, Ni Yang scored 590. Seeing the rankings, Li Wei breathed a sigh of relief. Although Ni Yang was first, she was only 5 points ahead of him. During the exam, he had a fever and wasn't feeling well, leaving some questions unanswered. If he had been in better shape. Chapter 866, Dominance to Death, both cool and beautiful. Upon hearing this, another teacher curiously leaned over and asked, what happened? How come Ni Yang only scored in the teens for physics and history? Normally, Ni Yang had never scored so low. By her side, Ni Yang's homeroom teacher, Teacher Su, said, she wasn't feeling well and handed in her paper early. No wonder, said the teacher who had spoken. Old Su, it looks like this year's top student in our city will definitely be Ni Yang from your class. Teacher Su adjusted her glasses and replied modestly, there's always someone better than the best. It's too early to be certain. Zhang Chang felt very uncomfortable when he heard this. Ni Yang was someone he had introduced to the school, and the top student was from their class. The feeling was like having won a 5 million jackpot but losing the lottery ticket. Terrible. As the exam drew closer, Ni Yang seldom visited the shop these days and was thoroughly revising at home. She hadn't taken part in the 1985 college entrance examination and didn't know what it was like, but she knew there would definitely be text completion questions in Chinese. Reading comprehension, classical Chinese interpretation, and essay writing didn't scare her, it was the text completion that she dreaded the most. So she had been cramming for Chinese at home these past few days. Then, in the blink of an eye, the day of the college entrance examination arrived. July 7th. The college entrance examination is a major turning point in life, and both the Zheng family and the Shengguan family took it very seriously. Old Master Zheng, Madame Zheng, and the Dowager Madame Shengguan all wanted to personally escort Ni Yang to the examination room, but she refused them, saying that the whole family showing up would be too grand. Grandmas, Grandpa, Mom and Dad, don't worry, she said. It's just an exam, why are you more nervous than I am? Having Big Brother Mo with me is enough. Then why hasn't Xiaoma arrived yet? Madame Shengguan asked anxiously. He should be here soon, Ni Yang replied. I arranged to meet him at the intersection up ahead. I'll go on ahead. Madame Zheng grabbed Ni Yang's wrist. Yang, are you sure you don't need us to accompany you? Ni Yang smiled and said, really, I don't. I have big brother Mo with me, and it's not like I'm alone. Seeing Ni Yang so composed and not at all nervous, Madame Zheng also breathed a sigh of relief. Then we will make something delicious at home and wait for you tonight. Emicham, Ni Yang nodded. Just like it had been arranged, as soon as Ni Yang stepped out of the front door, Mo Qishan arrived in his car. Ni Yang opened the car door and got in. Why are you driving today? Where's Wu Daming? Ni Yang asked, puzzled. Mo Qishan replied, because it's the college entrance examination. Wu Daming's sister is also taking it this year, so he went back to accompany her. Ni Yang nodded. You wouldn't expect Daming to be such a good brother. At this time, the countryside still held a strong preference for sons over daughters. It was very difficult for a family to let a girl take the college entrance examination, unlike in later generations where men and women were treated as equals and female university students were everywhere. Before long, they had reached the examination room. The examination room was at a certain middle school in Beijing. There were many parents there to send off their children, most of whom had come by bicycle. There were very few who, like Mo Qishan, had arrived by car. For a moment, this garnered many lingering glances. Fortunately, the atmosphere in Beijing was gradually becoming more open, and it wasn't rare to see couples secretly holding hands on the street. Rewind a few decades, and a young couple like Ni Yang and Mo Qishan would have been subjected to public criticism. Mo Qishan carefully checked the pencil case, making sure that all the stationery and her admission ticket were in place. Then he said, Yang, don't be nervous. I will be right here waiting for you when you come out. I'm not nervous. You, on the other hand, are sweating, big brother Mo, and you're not even the one taking the exam. Ni Yang stood on her tiptoes and used her sleeve to wipe away the beads of sweat on Mo Qishan's forehead. Being so close, she could smell a fresh mint fragrance mixed with a subtle scent of tobacco. I'm heading in, Ni Yang continued. Wait a moment, Mo Qishan said, catching Ni Yang's wrist. Ni Yang looked back slightly. What is it? Mo Qishan held her hand with one hand and took off the watch from his own left wrist with the other, placing it on her wrist. Wear this and you can check the time during the exam. The men's watch was large, making her fair wrist look even more delicate and exquisite. I'm off then, Ni Yang said, shaking the wristwatch. Good luck. Don't worry, Ni Yang nodded, smilingly replied, I will, big brother Mo. See you later. Mo Qishan waved at her and watched as her figure disappeared at the school gate. Chapter 867, Dominantly Awesome, Both Cool and Beautiful. _2. Ni Yang walked to the examination room with her things. The examination rooms of the 80s, although lacking the electronic gadgets of later generations and without the need for security checks, were still very solemn affairs. In a large classroom of 60 square meters, only 20 desks were placed, spaced generously apart. With 4 proctors on duty and rotating inspectors overseeing the room, cheating was all but impossible. Ni Yang's seat was by the window in the first group. As the exam had not yet begun, murmurs quickly spread from the surrounding. Beauties, regardless of the era, would always receive special treatment. My God, which school is she from? She's so pretty. Idiot, didn't you see the uniform? She's from Third City Middle School. Third City Middle School, could she be the school beauty? Hearing the words school beauty, someone curiously asked, what school beauty? The one from Third City Middle School, I think her name is Ni Yang. Our cousin goes there too, and he said that their school beauty is really amazing. She often ranks first. Really? Wow. The whispers rose and fell, but Yang, as if not hearing them at all, twirled a black pen in one hand and rested her chin in the other, gazing out the window. A breeze lifted her waterfall-like black hair as a serene expression rested on her clear-cut face. The room only returned to quiet when the proctor walked in with the exam papers. "Students, quiet down now," said the proctor. "Please place your pencil cases on the desks, we're going to start checking them." In the future, students would use transparent pencil bags during national college entrance exams, but at that time, there were none, and pencil cases were standard. To prevent cheating with notes hidden inside them, teachers inspected every pencil case before the exams. Everyone set their pencil cases on the desks, and the proctors divided into 4 groups, meticulously checking, careful not to overlook anything. 10 minutes later, the distribution of exam papers began. The first exam was Chinese, from 9 to 11:30. The examination room was incredibly quiet, save for the sound of rustling writing. Chinese was not stressful for Yang. Even the text completion section posed no challenge, as the time spent studying Chinese texts had not been in vain. The essay portion was more interesting. It was to write an essay based on the philosophy contained within an ancient poem, with a self-determined stance and self-created title. The poem was "Pear Blossoms by the Eastern Fence" by the Northern Song Dynasty poet, Su Shi. The most classic lines from the poem were, "Melancholic is the snow on the eastern fence, how much of life can be discerned and understood." Yang's brows quirked up slightly, and, as if struck by inspiration, she settled on the title of her essay, "Youth Fleeting." In the 2.5-hour exam, Yang finished all the questions in an hour and a half. However, leaving early was not permitted, so after thoroughly reviewing her answers twice, Yang spent the time doodling on scratch paper. She had wanted to sleep, but this was the National College Entrance Examination room, after all, and openly sleeping might affect the other students. A proctor passed by Yang and noticed her drawing. Firstly impressed, then shook their head in resignation. Although her drawing looked decent, this was an exam after all, and these exams determined one's future path in life. How could she be so carefree? That was irresponsible to her own life. An hour quickly passed, and outside it was the peak of the sun's strength. The scorching heat was uncomfortable. As soon as Yang stepped out of the door, a shadow enveloped her from above, and the burning sensation on her skin immediately lessened considerably. It was Qishan coming over with an umbrella. "Yang, you must be burning up. Have an ice pop first." Yang replied with a smile, "It's okay, it wasn't hot in the classroom. I didn't realize it was so hot outside." "Where did the ice pop come from?" "Over there," Qishan pointed towards the roadside. At that time, ice pops were sold out of insulated boxes, and knowing today was the day of the National College Entrance Exam, the seller had timed his arrival perfectly. At the moment, the uncle was surrounded by a crowd. Yang turned her head and raised an eyebrow in surprise, struggling to imagine Qishan jostling with so many people for an old-fashioned ice pop. Taking a bite of the ice pop handed to her, the coolness was refreshing and the flavor classic, loaded with memories. "Brother want a bite?" Yang offered the ice pop to Qishan's lips. The two had already kissed, so sharing an ice pop was naturally not a concern, and moreover, Qishan had bought only one ice pop precisely to share it with Yang. Chapter 868, Dominantly Awesome, Both Cool and Beautiful. _3. They shared the popsicle, taking turns, and quickly finished it. Since they had math and English exams in the afternoon, the two did not go home but found a restaurant to eat. After lunch, Qishan found a guest house for them. Yang rested for over an hour at noon and then returned to the examination room. As Yang studied science, the afternoon math exam was half an hour longer than the Chinese exam. The next morning, they had exams in physics and history, and in the afternoon, chemistry and politics. The third day concluded with the biology exam in the morning. After 3 consecutive days of exams, when Ni walked out of the examination room on the afternoon of the third day, she felt much more relaxed. Just then, a male student hurried to catch up with her. "Excuse me, could you wait for a moment?" Ni looked back and saw a young boy around 17 or 18 years old, with a shy smile on his face. "Are you calling me?" Ni asked. "Yes," the boy nodded and introduced himself. "I am Zhong, a student from the second city high school. We were in the same examination room, you were in the first group, I was in the second." Throughout the 3 days of exams, Zhong had noticed Ni. Whenever he encountered a tough question, all he needed to do was look up to see her profile. Her profile was as exquisite as a painting, more beautiful than the scenery outside the window, and it was comforting. On the first day of exams, Zhong wanted to strike up a conversation with Ni but never found the courage. Today, being the last day, he knew he'd never get another chance if he didn't act now. Ni did not reject this friendly advance. "I'm Ni, from the third city high school." Zhong continued, "Is it Ni as in individual and Yang as in fireworks?" "Yes," Ni nodded. Keeping pace with Ni, Zhong asked, "Ni, where do you live?" Before Ni could answer, Zhong added, "I live in the south part of the city, it's convenient to go anywhere from there. How about we walk home together?" Outside the school gate, Chishan was eagerly waiting for Ni. When he finally spotted her, his face lit up, but then darkened rapidly when he saw Zhong with her. Ni looked up at Chishan and said, "No need, my boyfriend is waiting over there for me." "Boyfriend?" Zhong was stunned. You have a boyfriend?" Ni nodded. "Yes," pointing towards Chishan, "that's him." Following the direction of Ni's finger, Zhong saw a distinguished figure holding a black umbrella, dressed in a crisply ironed suit, his handsome face and slightly upturned delicate eyes shining coldly. Despite the heat of summer, he gave off a chill. Zhong, frightened, withdrew his gaze, feeling a sudden inferiority. Such an outstanding man, how could he compete? His unstarted first love died in its cradle, leaving Zhong very unreconciled. "Is he really your boyfriend?" "Of course." "I need to go now," said Ni, and she jogged away. Zhong watched as Ni ran up to Chishan, who considerately covered her entirely with his umbrella and tenderly swept her bangs behind her ear. So, they really were boyfriend and girlfriend. Zhong felt suffocated, a heavy, stifling feeling. The scene looked very loving to those around. In fact, Chishan was using the opportunity to touch her hair to question Ni Yang, who was that just now? His voice gradually filled with jealousy. Ni, with a slight dimple showing, jested, "Oh my, who's spilled their vinegar here? It's so sour." Yang, do you think him too old?" Chishan continued to inquire. There was a 10-year age difference between him and Ni. Before confirming their relationship, he had always been worried about this. Not at all, seeing Chishan turn serious, Ni took his hand. You are great, you are outstanding, and handsome to boot. I wouldn't dislike you." "Really?" Chishan asked. "Really," Ni nodded. Chishan followed up, "Who was that person just now?" Ni responded, "Just another student in the examination room, I don't even know his name." Ni had a good memory, and she would not forget Chishan easily. She said this just to cheer her Mr. up. Chapter 869, Dominantly Awesome, Both Cool and Beautiful. _4. You really don't know? Chishan's dark expression lightened a bit. "Really, I swear." Ni held up 3 fingers. Chishan continued, then what were you just talking to him about? You two seemed quite happy chatting. Yang replied, I told him my boyfriend has arrived, didn't you see me pointing at you just now? With that explanation, Qishan was completely relieved. What shall we have for lunch? Yang thought for a moment, then said, let's go to Color and Fragrance, I've been craving tiramisu. Alright. This was Qishan's third visit to Color and Fragrance. Color and Fragrance was a renowned restaurant in Beijing, and though it hadn't been open for long, it had revolutionized the dining scene in the city. Yang, color and fragrance is your business, isn't it? Qishan turned to look at Yang. Yang was surprised and asked, brother, how did you know? Qishan had been particularly busy for a while, and Yang wanted to keep it low-key, so she hadn't told Qishan about color and fragrance. But to her surprise, Qishan had guessed it. His thin lips curved slightly. I recognized your style at first glance. An old era had just ended, and at this time, the national sentiment favored Western culture. Vintage culture was seen as old-fashioned and rotting, and few would decorate a restaurant in a traditional Chinese retro style, let alone employ Hanfu costumes as a uniform for the waitstaff. Brother, you're really smart, Yang offered her praises without stinginess. Of course, Qishan adopted Yang's usual arrogant tone, otherwise, how could I be your brother? Time flew by, and before they knew it, another week had passed. After spending over a month with Yang, Qishan had to get busy again. Before he left, Qishan took Yang to visit Grandpa Du just like last time. Grandpa Du was sitting in the Buddha hall, chanting scriptures. Hearing the familiar sound of the wooden fish, Yang whispered, brother, is your big brother Du renouncing worldly pleasures? Qishan nodded, it's very possible. However, big brother Du still has many things to sort out. I guess he won't become a monk anytime soon. As they were walking towards the Buddha hall, footsteps were heard from behind. Yang. Yang looked back slightly, Sister Jiao. Qishan nodded slightly, Du second sister. Du Jiao looked at them. Yang, are you really with this guy? Yes, Sister Jiao. Du Jiao continued, I thought he would never marry, this is really disappointing. Qishan used to be quite ascetic. Although Grandpa Du was not intent on celibacy, passing through a myriad of flowers without a single leaf touching him, Qishan was thoroughly indifferent to women, not even having a female assistant around. At one point, Du Jiao doubted if there was something wrong with Qishan's health. Otherwise, at his age, in the prime of life, how could he not like women? So when Du Jiao heard that Qishan and Yang were together, she thought it was a joke made by Grandpa Du, but it turned out to be true. Qishan remained composed. Du second sister, you jest. Du Jiao said with a smile, our Yang is so beautiful, you can't let her down. Don't worry, Du second sister. Du Jiao went on, I'm relieved with your words. While they were talking, Grandpa Du, holding Buddha beads, walked out from the Buddha hall. Pei Ji is here. Big brother Du Jiao said, the weather is nice today, not hot and with a breeze. A younger sister of mine came over, too. Why don't we sit in the garden? Alright, Grandpa Du nodded. Yang and Qishan were guests, and guests followed their host's lead, so naturally, they had no objections. Du Jiao's good friend from Shanghai was called Fu Xiaoxuang. She was 21 this year, very pretty, petite and delicate, with finely drawn eyebrows like willow leaves and light lipstick, the epitome of a wealthy and pampered lady. Her soft-spoken manner could melt into one's bones. Fu Xiaoxuang had pursued Qishan for a while, to no avail, so now she had set her sights on Grandpa Du. Although Grandpa Du already had 2 mistresses, she didn't mind. She was more confident in winning over Grandpa Du than Qishan. After all, Grandpa Du was a man known for indulging in pleasures. To become the matron of the Du family was to rule over the flourishing Shanghai. Thereafter, it would be her Fu family's domain. Chapter 870, Dominant and Dead, Both Cool and Beautiful. _5. Seeing Mo Qishan walking over hand in hand with Ni Yang, Fu Xiaoshuang was quite surprised. Wasn't Mo Qishan known for not liking women? She had pursued Mo Qishan for over a year, but not once did he even glance her way. Unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, Mo Qishan was with someone else. Fu Xiaoshuang was somewhat unable to accept it for a moment. In terms of timing, she was the one who knew Mo Qishan first. Logically, it should be her who ended up together with Mo Qishan. Although Du Jiaojiao's father was also a good catch, he already had 2 mistresses. What man in today's society still has multiple wives and concubines? In Fu Xiaoshuang's heart, she favored Mo Qishan slightly more, having given up on him previously because she thought he didn't like women. Had she known Mo Qishan liked women, she wouldn't have given up on him. Ni Yang was the only one unaware of Fu Xiaoshuang, so Du Jiaojiao took the initiative to introduce them. Xiaoshuang, this is my good friend Ni Yang. Yang, this is my little sister Fu Xiaoshuang, she's 2 years older than you can just call her Sister Fu. Sister Fu. Yang. Fu Xiaoshuang, who easily warmed up to people, immediately followed Du Jiaojiao and called out. The group sat down at a stone table in the garden, sipping tea and chatting leisurely. Fu Xiaoshuang seemed quite interested in Ni Yang, constantly engaging her in conversation. Ni Yang faintly felt that something was off about Fu Xiaoshuang but still greeted her with a smile. Du Jiaojiao's father looked up at Fu Xiaoshuang, a tinge of darkness flashing in his eyes, rotating the Buddha beads in his hand. Refill Miss Fuss cup, please. Of course. The servant by their side immediately poured tea for Fu Xiaoshuang. Fu Xiaoshuang wished she could dig up Ni Yang's ancestors. She had no interest in drinking tea at that moment. Du Jiaojiao pressed down on Fu Xiaoshuang's hand. Xiaoshuang, drink your tea first. She hadn't expected Fu Xiaoshuang to still be hung up on Mo Qishan. Had she known it would be like this, she wouldn't have suggested going to the back garden to drink tea. Du Jiaojiao deeply regretted it. On the way back, Mo Qishan took the initiative to explain to Ni Yang that Fu Xiaoshuang once pursued me. If she bothers you again in the future, just ignore her. Oh, I was wondering why Fu Xiaoshuang was acting so strangely. Ni Yang had a sudden realization, so she's interested in you. Mo Qishan looked at Ni Yang in surprise. Yang, aren't you the least bit angry? He had thought Ni Yang would be very angry after hearing this. But instead, Ni Yang showed no reaction at all. Didn't Ni Yang's lack of anger mean she didn't care about him at all? Was she about to ask for a breakup next? Mo Qishan imagined 100 different possibilities, knitting his brows into a chuan shape. Ni Yang raised an eyebrow slightly, her lips curved with a gentle dimple. Someone liking you shows you're charming, and it also proves I have good taste. Why should I be angry? Besides, it's Fu Xiaoshuang's freedom to like who she wants. We don't live by the sea, so how can we be so controlling? Mo Qishan blanked for a moment. What does that have to do with your good taste? You dunce. Ni Yang laughed. It obviously means I have good taste in picking boyfriends. Really? Mo Qishan suddenly became excited. That meant there was still a whole group of people out there wanting to chase after him. Ni Yang continued, but, you mustn't give them any undue hints and must keep your distance from them. You must always remember that you have a girlfriend. If I see you two-timing, we break up on the spot. Ni Yang was by no means joking. Although she liked Mo Qishan, if he ever betrayed her, she would break up immediately, cutting through the mess without a second's hesitation. Hearing the last 2 words, Mo Qishan's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly said, Wife, don't worry, I promise I want two-time. Those gaudy women out there, I promise I won't take a second look. If I take a second look, may lightning strike me. Seeing Mo Qishan taking it so seriously, Ni Yang laughed. Brother Mo, I know you're not that kind of person, I'm just laying it out in advance, just in case. Mo Qishan looked back at her earnestly, there won't be a just in case. The next day, Mo Qishan boarded a plane to F country. It was Ni Yang who took him to the airport. Also accompanying them was Du Jiaojiu's father. Brother Du, please take care of Yang Yang for me. Du Jiaojiu's father nodded, rest assured. Yang Yang, I'm leaving. Mo Qishan went over to hug Ni Yang, and lastly, planted a kiss on her face. Chapter 871, Dominantly Awesome, Both Cool and Beautiful. _6. Mo Qishan held her and seemed reluctant to let go, and Ni Yang reminded him, Brother Mo, your boarding time is approaching, it will be delayed soon. Mo Qishan sighed and said in a low voice, Yang Yang, I can't bear to leave you. Don't worry, I'll write to you, and I'll call you when I can, Ni Yang said. In an era where communication tools were not well developed, making international calls was not easy. Writing letters was also inconvenient as it took a long time for them to arrive. Mo Qishan tightened his arms and hugged Ni Yang firmly before finally letting go. It was only after Mo Qishan's figure disappeared at the boarding gate that Ni Yang turned to leave. Brother Du, let's go. Okay. Du nodded and followed Ni Yang. The weather was very hot. Today, Ni Yang was not wearing a cheongsam but a simple white shirt and jeans. Even in such a simple outfit, she still caught everyone's eye, especially standing next to Du, who was clad in commoner's clothes. Throughout their walk, countless people turned to glance at them. Ni Yang glanced sideways, aren't you hot wearing so much? In the 6th and 7th months of the lunar calendar, the scorching sun was high in the sky, and it was the hottest time. She felt hot even in a thin shirt, but Du seemed unaware of the heat. He still wore his commoner's clothes and cloth shoes, and, oddly enough, there wasn't a single bead of sweat on his forehead. Not hot. Du twirled his Buddha beads, I was born with a cold constitution, immune to heat and cold. Really? Ni Yang expressed her doubt. Do you want to check it? Du reached out his hand that was holding the Buddha beads. Ni Yang paused, how could I verify that? Du raised an eyebrow, aren't you a doctor? Ni Yang had previously taken Du's pulse, but she hadn't noticed this peculiarity then. Could there really be such a thing as a natural cold constitution? While walking, Ni Yang reached out to touch Du's wrist and listened intently to his pulse. Your pulse seems to be different from that of a normal person. Du withdrew his hand, that's the cold body constitution. Ni Yang continued, someone with your type of body would be more suited for medical research. What do you mean? Du asked. Ni Yang explained, simply put, it means that after you pass away, donating your body to medical researchers for dissection could lead to new breakthroughs in China's medical history. Ni Yang hadn't planned on having much interaction with Du, but she had promised Mo Qishan to bring some warmth to this lonely old man. Life as a lonely elder was not easy. Du twitched his eyebrows, you're cursing me to die. Life and death are the common states of human existence, Ni Yang continued, I'm certainly not cursing you. Du, twirling his Buddha beads, agreed, you're right. While they were speaking, they reached the outside of the airport. The car was parked outside. Brother Du, Miss Ni, the driver said as he promptly opened the door for them. That morning, it had been Du who picked up Mo Qishan. Du was a very considerate man and, worried Ni Yang might be uncomfortable, he took the front passenger seat. Ni Yang sat in the back seat. Having talked with Mo Qishan all the night before and not sleeping well, Ni Yang was seated alone in the spacious back seat. She fell asleep within 3 minutes of getting in the car. A clear, picture-like face could be seen from the rear-view mirror. Keep the speed down, Du instructed the driver in a low voice. Sure, the driver responded, immediately slowing down. The car drove slowly down the street when suddenly, hiss. The car, mid-drive, came to a stop. The sudden jolt woke Ni Yang, have we arrived? The driver, careful not to upset Du, replied, not yet, it seems the car has broken down. I'll go check. With that, the driver opened the door and stepped out of the car. Ni Yang followed suit. The driver lifted the hood and inspected it, fiddling around for quite a while without success. It seemed Du was growing impatient as he also opened the door and got out. What's the matter? The driver said, the problem seems serious. Brother Du, we might have to walk back. The airport was located in a remote suburb, no village in front nor a store in back, and they had no communication tools with them. It looked like they truly had to walk back. It's 30 kilometers from here to Demingxian, Du stated flatly. 30 kilometers? That probably meant walking all day. The driver fell silent. He feared he might lose his job. Just then, Ni Yang walked over to the front of the car and looked down, then said, hand me the screwdriver. Miss Ni, you know how to fix cars? The driver was surprised but immediately handed Ni Yang the screwdriver. Chapter 872, Dominant and Dead, Both Cool and Beautiful. _7, I know a little, Ni Yang took the screwdriver. In this era, where would you find a woman who can repair cars? Ni Yang, in her past life, was never married and didn't have a boyfriend. She liked to go on road trips, and of course, you need to know a bit about car repair for that. In case the car broke down on the road, she could fix minor issues by herself. Mr. Du's expression was indifferent. Can you fix it? Ni Yang took the screwdriver handed over by the driver and quickly twisted off a part from the car. I'll give it a try, but don't hold out too much hope. Be prepared to walk back at any moment. Wrench, Ni Yang spoke again. In no time, those pale white hands were smeared with black dust and gasoline. The contrast of white and black was striking and highly conspicuous. After roughly 10 minutes, Ni Yang, with a screwdriver and wrench in hand, carefully scratched her nose and raised her long legs to close the hood of the car. That posture, it had an indescribable coolness. Cool and beautiful. The driver was stunned. How long must her legs be to manage that move? The driver couldn't help but look down at his own legs. Ni Yang put the wrench and screwdriver back into the toolbox and said to the driver, go ahead and give it another try. The driver nodded, pulled open the driver's door, inserted the key, and started the engine. It's working. Miss Ni, you're really amazing. The driver was very excited to see the car start successfully. Ni Yang, uncharacteristically humble, said, I just got lucky and stumbled upon the solution. Getting into the car, Mr. Du said without looking back, Ni Yang, do you know how to drive? Yeah, Ni Yang nodded. Recalling a certain image, Mr. Du continued, then your driving must be pretty good, right? It's decent, Ni Yang kept it modest. You're too modest, Mr. Du said. Ni Yang agreed with a nod, I think so too. Mr. Du, about 10 or so minutes later, they stopped in front of the Zheng family's house. Ni Yang greeted Mr. Du and then pulled the car door open to get out. As soon as she got out, Zheng Xianxia came over from the other side. Yang. Sister Xianxia, Ni Yang greeted with a smile, like a carefree young girl. Who's sitting in the car? Zheng Xianxia asked, even though she already knew. Mr. Du, Ni Yang answered. Zheng Xianxia continued, there was a misunderstanding between Mr. Du and me last time. I'll go and say hello to Mr. Du. As she spoke, Zheng Xianxia had already approached the car door. Mr. Du, do you remember me? I am Yang's sister, Zheng Xianxia. Zheng Xianxia always felt that Mr. Du must be interested in her, otherwise, he wouldn't have given her such a big gift when they first met. Drive, Mr. Du ordered the driver to go, as if he hadn't seen Zheng Xianxia at all. What Zheng Xianxia was left with was only the dust flying all around. Zheng Xianxia's features were twisted in anger. Ni Yang feigned ignorance. Sister Xianjing, are you okay? Zheng Xianjing mustered a small smile. Fine, Yang Yang. Didn't you promise to explain things to Mr. Du for me last time? Why does he still treat me this way when he sees me now? Ni Yang took Zheng Xianjing's hand. I did explain for you. Don't lose heart, Sister Xianjing. I believe that if you persevere, Mr. Du will eventually let go of his prejudices against you. Zheng Xianjing narrowed her eyes, sensing that Ni Yang might be toying with her. An illusion? It must be an illusion. Today was Saturday, and after dinner, Ni Yang followed Ni Tsuehua and Shengguan Dehui, along with little Ni Yun, to the Shengguan family. Zheng Suyu had been feeling quite well these past few days, so she sat at the dinner table with everyone during the meal. Suddenly, Zheng Suyu started foaming at the mouth, fell to the ground, and began convulsing in a somewhat terrifying manner. Mr. Zheng and Mrs. Zheng were startled and immediately put down their chopsticks, but they dared not touch Zheng Suyu, fearing they would cause further harm. They quickly turned to the servants. Nyo Ma. Nyo Ma. Hurry and call Dr. Jiang. Zheng Suyu's condition was very critical at the moment, and Ni Yang immediately went over to administer first aid. Zheng Lingling said, Yang Yang, you can't treat mental illnesses. Let's wait for Aunt Jiang to come. What if Aunt Suyu gets worse under your treatment? Ni Yang didn't say a word. She looked up at Ni Tsuehua. Mom, can you please go get my medical kit from my room? She never allowed the house's servants to touch her medical kit, and only Ni Tsuehua knew where it was. Okay. Ni Tsuehua nodded and immediately went upstairs to get the medical kit. Zheng Lingling was beside herself with worry. Yang Yang, don't mess around. This is not the time to show off. Mom, Dad, you guys need to persuade Yang Yang. Zheng Lingling was still somewhat concerned about Ni Yang, especially after learning of Ni Yang's medical skills. If only they hadn't let Zheng Suyu, this ticking time bomb, stay. She regretted it. Zheng Lingling clenched her fists. Mrs. Zheng said, Lingling, don't worry. Although Yang Yang is young, she knows what she's doing. After speaking, Mrs. Zheng continued, Yang Yang, how is your grandma doing? She was fine just now. How could this happen to her? This was the first time Zheng Suyu had ever had such a problem. Ni Yang's face looked grim. The situation isn't very optimistic. It seems it's time to try the 13 ghost points. But there were still many things about the 13 ghost points technique that Ni Yang hadn't fully figured out yet, and she wasn't 100% sure she could cure the condition. Hearing her words, Mrs. Zheng's face turned pale. Then, what do we do? Chapter 873, Zheng Suyu woke up. Ni Yang's eyes lifted slightly. Grandma, don't worry, I will do my utmost effort to cure Great-Aunt. Okay. Great-Grandma Zheng nodded, her eyes unable to hide her concern. Hearing this, Zheng Lingling sighed with relief. From the meaning of Ni Yang's words, she knew that there wasn't much confidence in her ability to cure Zheng Suyu. Shortly after, Ni Tsuehua brought Ni Yang's medical box down from upstairs. Ni Yang took out sterilized medical cotton from the box and wiped the froth from Zheng Suyu's mouth. She wiped meticulously, her expression not showing the slightest disdain, as if she were not afraid of getting dirty. After a series of emergency measures had been taken, Ni Yang instructed 2 servants to carry Zheng Suyu upstairs. Old Master Zheng, Great-Grandma Zheng, and the others also followed upstairs. The room was fitted with an air conditioning unit, and the cool breeze was blowing gently, not feeling stuffy at all, but Zheng Suyu's forehead was still beaded with layers of fine sweat. Ni Yang pressed her hand on Zheng Suyu's pulse and frowned slightly. Now, Zheng Suyu's problem was not only psychological, but her health was also in great jeopardy. In this situation, treatment needed to be administered as quickly as possible. Ni Yang wrote a prescription and handed it to Ni Tsuehua. Mom, please go purchase the medicine listed here. Okay. Ni Tsuehua nodded. I'll drive you there, Shangguan Dehui said, following Ni Kuihua's steps. Not long after Ni Tsuhua left, the sound of hurried footsteps and Dr. Jiang's voice came from the doorway. "Aching, what happened to Suyu?" As soon as Dr. Jiang entered, she firmly grasped Great-Grandma Zheng's hands, her wrinkled face full of worry. This made Ni Yang inexplicably think of Snow White's stepmother. She didn't know if it was an illusion, but Ni Yang felt there was something very wrong with Dr. Jiang. Great-Grandma Zheng truly regarded Dr. Jiang as a dear sister. Her eyes instantly reddened. Suyu's condition is very bad, I'll go check on her, Dr. Jiang comforted. Don't worry, Suyu will certainly be alright. Okay. Great-Grandma Zheng nodded. Carrying a medical box, Dr. Jiang approached the bedside. Has Yang Yang already examined your great-aunt? Ni Yang nodded. Zheng Lingling quickly said, Aunt Jiang, Yang Yang practices traditional Chinese medicine and doesn't have much research in mental diseases. Please examine Aunt Suyu quickly, don't delay her treatment. Dr. Jiang smiled and said, Lingling, don't worry. I find this child Yang Yang to be very steady. Medical skills are passed down from generation to generation, and the essence remains the same. Whether it's Western medicine or traditional Chinese medicine, each has its own quintessence. Somehow, hearing Dr. Jiang say this, Zheng Lingling's originally nervous heart immediately calmed down. Since Dr. Jiang was going to examine Zheng Suyu, Ni Yang did not stop her but stood up to give Dr. Jiang her place. Dr. Jiang took out a stethoscope, sphygmomanometer, and thermometer and pressed them against Zheng Suyu's body. Her technique was very professional. Clearly, she was a very experienced old doctor. Zheng Lingling then asked, Aunt Jiang, how is Aunt Suyu? Dr. Jiang put down the stethoscope and spoke kindly, it's all right. Thanks to Yang Yang's timely emergency measures, Suyu is now out of danger. That's good. Zheng Lingling said, Aunt Jiang, we're entrusting Aunt Suyu's care to you. Dr. Jiang continued, I have to say, I'm embarrassed. Although I've been practicing medicine for many years and have spent my life as a doctor, my medical skills do not even compare to half of Yang Yang's. Yang Yang, you should continue treating your great-aunt. Grandma Jiang, you flatter me too much, Ni Yang said humbly, I am just starting out, barely understanding the basics, how can I compare to you? You've been practicing for so many years and have a wide range of knowledge. What kind of cases haven't you seen? Zheng Lingling was anxious for Dr. Jiang to treat her, but Dr. Jiang kept insisting that Ni Yang should do it. Dr. Jiang appeared kind-hearted, but in truth, she had a hidden agenda. The more Ni Yang observed, the more she felt something was off. Dr. Jiang smiled at Great-Grandma Zheng, Aching, your granddaughter is truly clever and articulate, just like you when you were young. We don't see such modest young people nowadays. Great-Grandma Zheng also felt very gratified to hear someone praise Ni Yang. Yang Yang takes after her great-aunt. Suyu was also smart when she was young, it's a pity, Suyu was temporarily short-sighted. In Western medicine, this is called depression. In the end, because her inner conflict remained unresolved, she ended up like this. In her youth, Zheng Suyu was a talented woman, but after experiencing betrayal and heartache, she never recovered. Chapter 874, Zheng Suyu woke up. _2. Upon hearing this, Ni Yang's eyebrows slightly raised. This Dr. Jiang was really no ordinary person, he even knew about depression. It seemed that he must have read quite a few books on psychiatry. Madame Zheng sighed and continued, Xiaoyan, how is Suyu doing now? How confident are you? Dr. Jiang said, I was not joking when I said my medical skills are not as good as Yang Yang's. I'm not confident I can cure Suyu's illness. Why not let Yang Yang have a look? As he spoke, Dr. Jiang added, Aching, your granddaughter will be successful one day. You just wait and enjoy the blessings she brings. Then I'll take your auspicious words. Madame Zheng turned her head to look at Ni Yang. Yang Yang, since your grandma Jiang says so, why don't you take a look at your auntie-grandma? Okay, Ni Yang nodded. Dr. Jiang maintained a smile. I wonder, Yang, how confident are you in curing your auntie-grandma? Probably only 10%, Ni Yang answered. 10% confidence. This statement made Madame Zheng's brow twitch. Zheng Suyu was only 55 years old. Dr. Jiang looked at Ni Yang and said, it's really the younger generation that's to be feared. In my hands, your auntie-grandma might not even have a chance for a 0.5% recovery, but in Yang hands, there's a 10% chance. Detecting the flattery in his words, Ni Yang said, Grandma Jiang, you're being too modest. It's just that my abilities are limited, Dr. Jiang sighed, I'm old now, and my medical skills aren't what they used to be. It's the younger generation's world now. Zheng Lingling frowned slightly and said, Aunt Jiang, what are you saying? Auntie Suyu has always been under your care. If it weren't for you over these years, Auntie Suyu might have, Dr. Jiang interrupted Zheng Lingling, his tone still cheerful, Lingling, thank you for holding Aunt Jiang in such high regard. But in life, you can refuse anything except old age. In medicine, it's said that metabolism is constant, life is the same. It's about old thoughts gradually vanishing, while new ones grow. Isn't there also that saying? The blue is made out of the indigo, but is more brilliant than it. Zheng Lingling nodded, you're right. Ni Yang held the gold needle in her hand and looked up at Zheng Lingling, her gaze subtly sweeping over Dr. Jiang. Something was not right with Zheng Lingling. Nor with Dr. Jiang. These two, in one accord, seemed very suspicious. Yet, when all their words were put together, there was no tangible problem to pinpoint. After a long time had passed, Ni Tsuehua and Shengguan Dehui returned. Madame Zheng quickly asked, Tingting, have you bought the medicine? Ni Tsuehua nodded, it's already been bought, and it's being prepared in the kitchen now. After speaking, Ni Tsuehua then saw Dr. Jiang. She was taken aback at first, then greeted Dr. Jiang, Aunt Jiang. For some reason, every time she saw Dr. Jiang, Ni Tsuehua felt a strange sensation inside. It was as if she had seen Dr. Jiang somewhere before. Tingting is back, Dr. Jiang was always very kind, no matter who she saw. Because Madame Zheng was worried about Zheng Suyu, it was Zheng Lingling who escorted Dr. Jiang out. After Zheng Lingling had left, Ni Tsuehua curiously asked, Mom, did I ever meet Aunt Jiang when I was little? No, Madame Zheng shook her head, when your Aunt Jiang came from country, you were no longer by my side. Ni Tsuehua had been missing for several months when Madame Zheng's sister and brother-in-law met with their accident. Before that, Dr. Jiang had been abroad. After speaking, Madame Zheng continued, Tingting, why do you ask? Ni Tsuehua replied, nothing much, it's just that Aunt Jiang looked so familiar, as if I've seen her somewhere before. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Madame Zheng nodded, I see. Ni Yang felt something was amiss and asked, Grandma, how did you know Grandma Jiang? Recalling the past, Madame Zheng's face showed her years, and with a sigh, she began to recount that period of time. Upon hearing her, Ni Yang said, so when Grandma Jiang brought back my grand-aunt, we had already been missing for several months? Madame Zheng said, more than 3 months. When did great-aunt and great-uncle meet with their accident? Ni Yang continued to inquire. Madame Zheng thought for a moment and then said, it was probably the 2nd month after your mother went missing. Back then, communication was not advanced, and neither was transportation, so by the time we received the news, your great-aunt and great-uncle's funerals had already been dealt with. Chapter 875, Zheng Suyu regains consciousness. _3. Grandma Jiang had been living in country before this? Ni Yang followed up with another question. Yes. Mrs. Zheng nodded and continued, back in the day, your great-aunt and Grandma Jiang were as close as real sisters. Later, when your great-aunt passed away, Grandma Jiang, fearing that returning would renew her grief, never went back and stayed in Beijing. So, there was no chance for my mom to meet Grandma Jiang, Ni Yang said. Mrs. Zheng continued, that's why I said perhaps your mom was mistaken. Grandma, where did you and Grandpa work in the beginning? Ni Yang asked. In Yicheng, Mrs. Zheng replied. Mentioning that sorrowful place made her feel uncomfortable. Ni Yang frowned slightly, but my mom grew up in Haicheng, Grandma. Haicheng is over 3,000 kilometers from Yicheng. Haicheng is over 3,000 kilometers from Yicheng. In times with developed transportation, it takes 2 days and nights by train, 9 hours by high-speed rail, and 4 hours by plane. In an era of extremely poor economic conditions and transportation options, how could a 3-year-old girl possibly cross 3,000 kilometers? There was a big problem with this. Mrs. Zheng's eyes reddened slightly. Actually, when I first saw your mom at the state-run big hotel, I felt she was my daughter, especially little Yun. She looked exactly like your mom when she was young. But later, when I asked your mom where she was from, and she said she was from Haicheng, my heart felt half cold. Mrs. Zheng thought the same as Ni Yang at that time. It was impossible for a 3-year-old girl to travel so far. It wasn't until the DNA result came out that I dared to confirm that your mom was my daughter. Now that I think about it, she might have been abducted by child traffickers to Haicheng. Ni Yang shook her head. At that time, the preference for sons over daughters was at its worst. My mom grew up in the countryside, and my maternal grandfather's family wasn't well off. They wouldn't have spent money to buy a daughter. So, the probability of child traffickers is practically zero. In China, the preference for sons over daughters only started to improve after the year 2000. Before that, nearly 2/3 of families preferred sons over daughters. There were rampant cases of abandoning baby girls, which child trafficker would waste their energy to steal a girl, and then sell her to the countryside. Even traffickers would normally sell to families that were well off and unable to have children. Ni Tsuihua grew up in a rural area with harsh conditions, never even attending school as a child. If you look at the issue from another angle, you would realize that someone wanted to ruin Ni Tsuihua, ensuring she'd never have a chance to succeed in life. Upon hearing this, Ni Tsuihua said, Yang, actually when I was younger, your grandfather's family wasn't that poor. Ni Yang frowned slightly, but in my memory, Grandpa's family was poorer than our old home, with just 2 earthen rooms that leaked whenever it rained. Ni Tsuihua continued, your grandfather's family had quite good conditions until I was 11. Later, he got hooked on opium, and that's when our family's fortune gradually dwindled away. Then why didn't Grandpa send you to school? Ni Yang asked. Ni Tsuihua chuckled bitterly, you know what our place was like, typical preference for sons over daughters. Little girls around my age, including Aunt Danny, none of them went to school. Ni Yang furrowed her brows slightly and then said, Mom, when did you start to remember things? Ni Tsuihua continued, I was particularly slow as a child, I didn't start remembering things until I was 8 or 9 years old. That was a bit strange. Ordinary children start to form memories by the ages of 5 or 6, children with a bit more talent start remembering things around the ages of 3 or 4. Ni Tsuihua was not slow. If she were, she wouldn't have been able to learn to read so quickly, nor would she have mastered English so swiftly. Meanwhile, Zheng Lingling escorted Dr. Jiang out the door. After making sure no one was around, Zheng Lingling finally spoke, Aunt Jiang, why didn't you treat Aunt Suyu just now? Not feeling reassured about Ni Yang? Dr. Jiang looked up at Zheng Lingling. Yes. Zheng Lingling nodded her head. Dr. Jiang kept a smile on her face while her ears stayed alert to the sounds around her. Ni Yang has excellent medical skills, so don't worry. How can you ask me not to worry? Zheng Lingling was anxious, you know very well. Dr. Jiang interrupted Zheng Lingling before she could finish, you child, how come you only grow older but not wiser? I think even Xianjing has more sense than you. Chapter 876, Zheng Suyu regains consciousness. _4. Zheng Lingling remained silent. The doctor continued, "It's a good thing Xianjing isn't like you. Xianjing is very smart, she just tends to be a bit impatient sometimes and needs to temper herself." After saying this, the doctor added, "Although your mother didn't say anything, I can tell that she has become guarded against me. If I get involved in Suyu's matters, what will happen? Well, you should be very aware of that without me saying anything." The doctor was a clever person, and she could tell Ni Yang was also clever. That young lady, despite her tender age, was by no means naive. Hearing this, Zheng Suyu turned pale. "Does my mother not trust even you now?" The doctor looked at Zheng Lingling. "Lingling, remember this, outsiders will always be outsiders. If it were you, would you believe your own daughter's words, or would you trust an outsider? But you're different." Zheng Lingling interjected, "You and she have been close friends for over 30 years, closer even than relatives. How could she treat you like this?" The doctor had weathered many storms with her for over 30 years. How could this old hag be so heartless? To even doubt the doctor. The doctor wasn't angry at all and said with a smile, "People are all self-interested. Actually, there's nothing wrong with that. I just want to tell you that I can't intervene in this matter." But Ni Yang said she is 10% sure. 10% sure means there's a glimmer of hope. If you don't step in, then we can only sit and wait for doom. What's the rush? The doctor's face remained benevolent. "Lingling, have you ever heard this saying?" Zheng Lingling was not in the mood to play guessing games with the doctor and asked bluntly, "What saying?" The doctor smiled, "A tree dies when moved, but a person lives on." "What do you mean by that?" Zheng Lingling was a bit confused. The doctor looked back at the Zheng family villa and continued, "Ni Yang is currently in charge of Suyu's condition. During this time, try to visit the kitchen as little as possible, and if you must go, avoid doing so when medicine is being prepared. Also, if you're going to visit Suyu, it's best to do it with your sister, or accompany your mother. Never leave any backlash that people could talk about. Is it really necessary to make it so complicated?" Zheng Lingling felt the doctor was making a mountain out of a molehill. "Very necessary," the doctor insisted. "The Zheng family of today is not the Zheng family of the past, especially do not underestimate Ni Yang. That young lady might only be 19, but she can handle 10 of you easily." Finally, the doctor added, "I never misjudge people." Yet Zheng Lingling didn't feel Ni Yang was impressive at all. She's just been lucky to catch the eye of Mr. Tuesday. It's pretty shameless, really. On one hand, she's all lovey-dovey with that useless Mo Qishan, and on the other, she's flirting with Mr. Tuesday. I don't know what Mr. Tu sees in her. If it weren't for Ni Yang, Xianjing would now be Mr. Tu's lifesaver. That is Ni Yang's skill, the doctor said. In any case, do not underestimate Ni Yang. After thinking a bit more, the doctor continued, "I remember there was a time when Xianjing and Mo Qishan were quite close, eh? What about now?" Zheng Lingling replied, "Don't worry, that's all in the past. Xianjing isn't stupid. How could she waste time on someone like that loser Mo Qishan?" "That's good," the doctor said, stopping in her tracks. "I'll leave you here, go back quickly. Remember what I said, and don't get too involved in Suyu's affairs." Zheng Lingling was somewhat worried, "But if I don't get involved, what if?" the doctor said with a smile, "Even if something happens, isn't that child still there?" Lingling, "Well, always find a way to keep her quiet." "Right." Zheng Lingling's eyes lit up, and she instantly felt relieved. "Take care on your way." The doctor headed towards the intersection, where a young man on a bicycle came to pick her up. "Auntie Jigang is here," the doctor said with a smile. This person was Jiang Jigang, the doctor's nephew, 22 years old. Jiang Jigang was usually lazy and gluttonous, addicted to gambling, and was so desperate for money at times that he would even hit his own parents. But he dared not offend the doctor lightly. Because the doctor was not only wealthy but also backed by the Zheng family. Jiang Jigang then said, "My dad sent me to pick you up for dinner at our place." "All right," the doctor settled herself on the back seat of the bicycle. Chapter 877, Zheng Suyu regains consciousness. _5. Because Zheng Suyu's condition was very bad. So, the next day, Ni Yang began to prepare to use the Ghost Gate 13 needles. Ghost Gate 13 needles involve not only medical problems but also metaphysical issues. Ni Yang had looked up quite a bit of material during this time and found that many people had suffered the backlash of the Ghost Gate 13 needles. Only people blessed with continuous fortune could perform the needling. After her resurrection, Ni Yang had once saved 2 people's lives. Before her resurrection, she was also charitable, having supported many orphanages and impoverished regions, using her medical skills to treat many people. She should be considered a person with blessings. Ni Yang prepared all the tools and then said to the elders Zheng at her side, "Grandpa, Grandma, I am going to perform acupuncture on Great-Aunt now. Please leave for a while, and during this time, don't let anyone in." The Ghost Gate 13 needles were most taboo against disturbances from outsiders. Elder Zheng nodded his head, "Okay Yang Yang, you do the acupuncture with peace of mind. Your grandma and I will stand guard outside the door, and we won't let anyone come in. It's hard on you and grandma. It's what we should do." As long as his sister Zheng Suyu could get better, Elder Zheng was willing to do anything. Elder Zheng left with Elder Mrs. Zheng, and in the blink of an eye, only Ni Yang and Zheng Suyu, who was lying in bed, were left in the room. Ni Yang first took out her self-made ointment. The ointment was light yellow, not smelling of medicine but rather of a faint fragrance of flowers. This was an ointment Ni Yang had made from gathering various flowers, along with Solomon's seal and fleeceflower root, specially for Zheng Suyu's illness. According to ancient texts, using this ointment while performing the Ghost Gate 13 needles would produce twice the effect with half the effort. Ni Yang dabbed a bit of ointment with her finger and then slowly twirled it onto the tip of the needle. A total of 13 gold needles. They corresponded to Renzhong Acupoint, Shaoshang Acupoint, Yinbai Acupoint, Daling Acupoint, Shenmai Acupoint, Fengfu Acupoint, Jiacha Acupoint, Qingjiang Acupoint, Laogong Acupoint, Shangxing Acupoint, and Huiyin Acupoint. Under normal circumstances, only 1 needle could be used per day, but Zheng Suyu's condition was very bad right now, so Ni Yang had to take the risk of completing all 13 needles in one day. The ancient texts recorded, for illnesses caused by 100 demons running wild, there are 13 acupoints that must be known. Always start with Ghost Palace, then proceed with Ghost Trust, and all will answer. First needle Renzhong, second Shaoshang. This first needle required extreme caution upon caution. Moreover, the layout of the Ghost Gate 13 needles was different from ordinary acupuncture. The method for the first needle was, diagonally insert the needle from the bottom up, 3 to 5 fen deep. If it exceeded 5 centimeters, the accuracy of the subsequent 12 needles would be for naught, even if they were precisely placed. Ni Yang sat in front of the window, slowly angled the gold needle into the Renzhong acupoint, gently twirling it. The next second, she suddenly let go. The depth of the needle was exactly 5 centimeters. Ni Yang immediately picked up the second gold needle. Then the third needle, the fourth needle. Minutes and seconds passed, the cool breeze wafted through the room, yet beads of sweat still appeared on Ni Yang's forehead. No wonder the ancient texts said that the Ghost Gate 13 needles were extremely sinister, where only 1 needle could be used per day, and at most not more than 3 needles. Ni Yang had only inserted 6 needles and already felt that her physical strength was almost at its limit. Ni Yang steadied her spirit, then picked up the 7th needle. The 7th needle was Jiacha Acupoint. The needling method was to pierce directly from outside to inside to a depth of 1.5 centimeters. 1.5 centimeters was a bit difficult to judge by the naked eye, especially under Ni Yang's current state of fatigue. Ni Yang squinted her eyes, swiftly and accurately inserted the needle into the Jiacha acupoint, exactly 1.5 centimeters, not a fraction more or less. For the following 6 needles, Ni Yang did not encounter any problems. During this time, Zheng Lingling came once, saw the door tightly closed, and seeing Elder Zheng and Elder Mrs. Zheng guarding the door with grave faces, she asked, "Dad, Mom, what's going on?" Elder Zheng was not in the mood to talk, his brow deeply furrowed. Elder Mrs. Zheng concisely explained the situation. Zheng Lingling felt panicked inside, wondering if Zheng Suyu was really going to wake up. This couldn't be. She had to get ready. I was originally planning to come and see Aunt Suyu, but since Yang Yang is performing acupuncture on her inside right now, I won't disturb them. With that, Zheng Lingling turned and walked downstairs. After descending the stairs, she secretly called Dr. Jiang. Approximately 3 hours later, the room door opened. A large beam of sunlight shone in from outside the door, dispelling the gloom inside the room, and lighting Ni Yang's pale face almost to transparency. Chapter 878, Zheng Suyu is awake. _6. The 13 ghostly needles had drained her of too much energy. She was too tired now. Seeing Ni Yang like this, the elderly Mrs. Zheng was startled. "Yang Yang, are you all right?" The elderly Mr. Zheng was also deeply frightened and quickly instructed the servants, "Hurry and call the doctor." "No need," Ni Yang rubbed her temples, "don't call the doctor, I'm fine. Grandpa, Grandma, you should go in and check on Aunt Suyu." After all, as someone who had been reborn, Ni Yang didn't take this slight fatigue to heart. "Has your aunt awakened?" Mr. Zheng asked. Ni Yang nodded, yes. Mr. and Mrs. Zheng, brimming with excitement, hurried into the house. Just then, Zheng Lingling came upstairs from below and upon hearing this, excitedly said, "Has Aunt Suyu awakened?" "Oh Yang Yang. You are really amazing." Zheng Lingling followed Mr. and Mrs. Zheng into the house. Inside, Zheng Suyu had indeed woken up. She was sitting up in bed, her gaze no longer as empty and lifeless as before but filled with a touch of sadness and sorrow. Mrs. Zheng's eyes instantly turned red. "Suyu. Suyu. You're better now, aren't you? You're back, aren't you?" Zheng Suyu looked at the elderly Mrs. Zheng in front of her, first stunned, then perplexed. "Old lady, who are you?" Mrs. Zheng's eyes widened, unbelievingly staring at Zheng Suyu. "Suyu, don't you remember who I am?" Zheng Suyu shook her head. "And me? Suyu, do you remember who I am?" Mr. Zheng leaned in close to Zheng Suyu. Zheng Suyu stared intently at Mr. Zheng, surprised. "Brother. You're my brother. Brother. How did you become like this?" In her memory, her brother was very handsome, even in middle age, he was still vibrant. The elderly man in front of her, bent over, his face full of wrinkles, his hair completely white, was vastly different from the brother in her memory. "Suyu." Mr. Zheng could no longer restrain himself and embraced Zheng Suyu. "Brother, what happened to you? Are you sick?" For a moment, Mr. Zheng released Zheng Suyu, his eyes red as he looked at Ni Yang. "Yang Yang, what happened to your aunt?" Ni Yang continued, "During the acupuncture, there was a rejection reaction, causing Aunt Suyu to lose her memories of the past 30 years. So, the way she remembers you is still from 30 years ago." Zheng Suyu seemed confused by Ni Yang's words. "Brother, who is she?" "Suyu, this is Tingting's daughter, called Yang Yang," Mr. Zheng said. "Tingting?" Zheng Suyu thought for a moment. Wasn't Tingting lost? Has she been found again? Seeing his sister truly recover, Mr. Zheng was overwhelmed with emotion, tears streaming down his face. "We found her, Suyu, we have already found Tingting." Zheng Suyu had just woken up, and everything felt cloudy and unclear. Her past was all very vague. Like a dream. Zheng Lingling got closer and said to Zheng Suyu, Aunt Suyu, do you remember me? Lingling. I have a daughter named Xianjing. When she was little, you used to hold her often. Lingling? Lingling. This voice sounded like an incantation, and the scene in front of her began to merge with a scene in her mind. Zheng Suyu's pupils constricted. Suyu, you finally woke up, do you remember me? I am Jiang Yan, the doctor entered from outside. Zheng Lingling, Jiang Yan. Tears welled up in Zheng Suyu's eyes in that instant. She remembered. She remembered everything. At that moment, Dr. Jiang hugged Zheng Suyu tightly and choked out, Suyu, you finally woke up. Finally woke up. That's wonderful. I knew Yang Yang would definitely find a way to cure you. Zheng Suyu's entire body trembled as if she had fallen into an ice cellar. Just as Zheng Suyu was about to push Dr. Jiang away, Dr. Jiang held her tightly, his gaze gradually turning cold, and in a very low voice said, do you remember that poor child? Poor child? What child? Yang subtly moved her ear and clearly caught this phrase. She knew something was not right with Dr. Jiang. It seemed that the matter would have to start with this child. She must not spook anyone for now. Yang narrowed her eyes, a sharp gleam reflecting in them. Normally, such a quiet voice would be inaudible to ordinary people, but Yang was no ordinary person. Ever since her rebirth and saving lives, her senses had been several times more acute than those of an average person. After hearing this, Zheng Suyu's tightly clenched fist gradually relaxed, her blood seemed to flow backward, she bit her teeth tightly, almost unable to control herself, and muttered with her head down, I don't remember, I've forgotten you. Dr. Jiang's eyes reddened, how can you just forget like that? Suyu, I am Jiang Yan, you used to call me Xiaoyan, I don't remember. Zheng Suyu pulled the blanket around her and shrank back. Suyu, take a good look at me. Aunt Suyu patted Dr. Jiang on the shoulder, Suyu has even forgotten me, it's normal for her to forget you too, as long as she is alright, that's all that matters. Dr. Jiang wiped away his tears, looking at Zheng Suyu, Aching is right, as long as she is alright, that's what matters. We can think about the rest slowly, I believe one day you will remember me. Next, Aunt Suyu introduced Yang and Zheng Lingling to Zheng Suyu and mentioned the events that had happened over the years in the Zheng family. Suyu, Tingting and her husband Dehui have gone to her husband's family, I have already sent someone to notify them, they will come back tonight. Zheng Suyu nodded, I would like to rest now, you all should leave. Dr. Jiang said with concern, Suyu, then rest well, I will come see you tomorrow. Aunt Suyu sighed, somewhat worriedly said, Suyu, then we will leave first, but if you need anything or remember anything, make sure to call us. Zheng Suyu said nothing more, lay down, and covered her head with the blanket. It seemed like she was avoiding something. After everyone left, Zheng Suyu hid under the blankets, and soon, low sobs could be heard from within the blanket. Constrained and oppressive. Downstairs, Dr. Jiang greeted Aunt Suyu with a smile, Ching, I always said your granddaughter is smart. I treated Suyu for so many years without results, but as soon as Yang stepped in, Suyu woke up. Aunt Suyu too smiled broadly, her daughter was found, and Zheng Suyu had awoken, she had no regrets left in this life. Chapter 879, Cunning Yang Grandma Zheng said with a smile, this child is indeed clever, certainly smarter than this old lady. It's our family's good fortune from the past life to have such a wonderful granddaughter. Zheng Lingling looked at Yang, her features nearly contorting with jealousy and anger. Yang had become a treasure, while Zheng Xianjing was now mere grass. Who in the vast Zheng family even remembered Zheng Xianjing now? Before Yang's arrival, Zheng Xianjing was the only granddaughter of the Zheng family, a master in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting, and a famous socialite within their circles. After the last birthday banquet, however, Wuxia Xianxia had become a laughingstock. It was Ni Yang who had stolen everything from Wuxia Xianxia. Had it not been for Ni Yang, Wuxia Xianxia would still be the sole heir to the Jiang family. Now, Zheng Lingling wished she could just strangle Ni Yang. Dr. Jiang was right, the most difficult person to deal with in the Jiang family was Ni Yang. Ni Yang, seeming young, actually had a high level of cunning, more difficult to deal with than 100 Ni Quihuas. Without Ni Yang, Ni Tsuihua wouldn't even be able to stand a chance against the Jiang family. Ni Yang felt a bit dizzy and stood up, saying, "Grandpa, Grandma, I'm feeling a bit lightheaded, I'll go upstairs to rest for a while." Old Master Zheng hurriedly stood up, saying, "Of course, go ahead, and we'll call you when it's time to eat." Ni Yang nodded and walked upstairs. The 13 ghost needles were very draining, and Ni Yang almost fell asleep as soon as she lay down on the bed. Dr. Jiang didn't stay long at the Zheng families either, chatted with Grandma Zheng for a while, and then left. Just as Dr. Jiang got home, Zheng Lingling and Sun Wu showed up right on her heels. Now that Zheng Suyu had awoken, Zheng Lingling was, of course, anxious. And she wasn't the only anxious one, Sun Wu was too. Sun Wu had lived more than 20 years of good life, and if Zheng Suyu spilled everything, without the big tree of the Zheng family to lean on, what would become of him? Would he have to go back to facing the cold winds of the northwest? Dr. Jiang looked at Zheng Lingling, slightly surprised. "Why are you here?" Zheng Lingling placed her bag on the coffee table. "Aunt Jiang, as you've seen, Aunt Suyu's condition is worrying. What do we do now? We can't just sit around and wait for death, can we?" Dr. Jiang poured Zheng Lingling a glass of water. "We've gotten through many years, what's the rush?" Where did Zheng Lingling have the mind to drink water now? Holding the cup she said, "Aunt Jiang, I think Aunt Suyu seems to have realized something. If this continues, and she recalls everything one day, we're all finished." The more Zheng Lingling thought about it, the more panicked she became, her face turning pale with fear. "You're not wrong," Dr. Jiang nodded. "Zheng Suyu has indeed recovered all her memories." Even Dr. Jiang hadn't expected Ni Yang's medical skills to be so proficient, enough even to cure Zheng Suyu's hysteria. From the beginning, she hadn't underestimated Ni Yang, only to find she had still underestimated her in the end. Ni Yang was even more formidable than she had imagined. Crash! The cup in Zheng Lingling's hand fell directly to the ground, shattering into pieces. "Suyu, Aunt Suyu really remembered everything?" "Really?" Before Dr. Jiang could finish her sentence, Sun Wu sprang up from the sofa. "It's over. We're done for. We need to flee right now." "Is that really all the backbone you have?" Dr. Jiang looked at Sun Wu, speaking sternly. "Running away is the most cowardly solution. After all these years of hard work at the Zheng family, do you really want to end up as street rats that everyone wants to bash?" With that said, Dr. Jiang turned to look at Zheng Lingling. "And you? Lingling, you've been with the Zheng family for 35 years, and Xianjing is already 21. How can you still be like before, making no progress at all? Losing your head over a little trouble? With this attitude of yours, how do you expect to push out Ni Yang and become the matriarch of the Zheng family?" Dr. Jiang was smiling as she said this, but Zheng Lingling saw no warmth in that smile. Zheng Lingling opened her mouth, then continued, "So, what should I do?" Zheng Suyu had already awakened, and those dark secrets would inevitably surface one day. For Zheng Lingling, the current Zheng Suyu was like a time bomb, capable of detonation at any moment. She wasn't Dr. Jiang, she didn't have such a strong heart. "Don't worry," Dr. Jiang took a syringe out of the medicine box, squeezing out the excess air inside. "Zheng Suyu won't dare to speak carelessly." Seeing Dr. Jiang like this, a sudden thought seemed to strike Zheng Lingling. "Right, there's also that child." As she spoke, she continued, "But what about Ni Yang? Ni Yang is so clever, she will definitely notice something." Chapter 880, Cunning Yang _2. Dr. Jiang laughed, then plunged the cold syringe directly into his own arm, slowly pushing the plunger as the transparent liquid seeped into his vein. Then let's make her the second Zheng Suyu. The second Zheng Suyu? Sun Wu's eyes lit up. That's a good idea. It saves me from having to look at their family of 4, which I find so unpleasant. Before Shengguan Dehui arrived, Sun Wu was the only son-in-law of Master Zheng and Madame Zheng. Now, with Shengguan Dehui around, who was capable and ambitious, Sun Wu distinctly felt a change in Master Shengguan and Madame Shengguan's attitude towards him. Zheng Lingling frowned. It's easier said than done. Ni Yang is not Zheng Suyu, someone we can easily manipulate. Dr. Jiang opened his eyes. You think Zheng Suyu was a pushover? Before this, Zheng Suyu was known throughout Beijing as the talented woman of Beijing. Back in the day, Zheng Suyu enjoyed limitless prestige. And in the end? She still ended up as the crazy old woman that everyone despised. The difference between a talented woman and a mad woman is but a single thought. So what do you plan to do? Zheng Lingling looked at Dr. Jiang. Let the most harmless person in the Zheng family do it, Dr. Jiang said. Zheng Lingling narrowed her eyes. Are you referring to Aunt Suyu? Dr. Jiang laughed outright. Lingling, you've finally caught on for once. Will she listen to you? Zheng Lingling countered. Dr. Jiang said, I can't frequent the Zheng household, so you need to handle this. Strike the snake at its weakest spot, and now Zheng Suyu's weakest spot is that child. Sun Wu said, but that child isn't. Shut up. Dr. Jiang directly interrupted Sun Wu before he could finish. Sun Wu quickly shut his mouth. Zheng Lingling nodded. I think I know what to do. Here, take this. Dr. Jiang handed Zheng Lingling a white glass bottle. Before Zheng Lingling could speak, Dr. Jiang continued, this liquid is colorless and tasteless. Give it to Zheng Suyu. I believe she will find a way to make Ni Yang drink it. Okay. Zheng Lingling reached out and took the glass bottle. Dr. Jiang added, Ni Yang is a doctor herself and much more sensitive to medications than most people. Tell Zheng Suyu to make Ni Yang drink it in 3 separate doses. Zheng Lingling nodded and then said, Zheng Suyu recovered from a severe illness before. What if this medicine has no effect on Ni Yang? Dr. Jiang looked at Zheng Lingling and countered, Lingling, do you know who the safest person in this world is? Zheng Lingling paused, not catching on. Dr. Jiang continued, the dead are the safest in this world. Realizing the deeper meaning in Dr. Jiang's words, Zheng Lingling's face turned pale with fright. Do we really have to do this? Although Zheng Lingling also wished for Ni Yang to die, she was more afraid of going to jail. The consequences would be unimaginable if this were to be discovered. This was also why she had never truly acted against the old Zheng couple. Patting Zheng Lingling's shoulder, Dr. Jiang reassured, to prevent an accident like what happened to Zheng Suyu, we have no choice but to do this. Lingling, don't let being too kind become your greatest weakness. If you had been decisive earlier, instead of being indecisive, things wouldn't have ended up like this. Now you only have 2 choices. Either Ni Yang dies, or your whole family perishes. Zheng Lingling was ashen. Sun Wu, usually a docile man, was not afraid at all. Aunt Jiang is right. Lingling, you have always been too indecisive. If we had taken care of those 2 old folks back then, where would Ni Yang, that little wench, get the chance to cause trouble? Zheng Lingling's legs trembled. This way, we will end up in jail. Seeing Zheng Lingling's hesitant demeanor, Dr. Jiang became somewhat irritated. Dr. Jiang snatched the glass bottle from Zheng Lingling's hand. If you are too scared, then let's forget about this. After all, you are not a blood relative of the Zheng family. Let the Zheng fortune go to Zheng Tingting and Ni Yang. Sun Wu quickly interjected, Aunt Jiang, please don't be angry. Lingling is just confused momentarily. Zheng Lingling stood there stunned. With Sun Wu's persuasion, Dr. Jiang's expression finally softened a bit and then he said, with Zheng Suyu taking the heat up front, "What are you afraid of?" Following Dr. Jiang's lead, Sun Wu said, "Lingling, Aunt Jiang is right. Even if things are exposed later, there's still that crazy woman Zheng Suyu. What are you scared of? It's not you who is poisoning Ni Yang." Chapter 881, Cunning Yang Yang _3. If, just if, there are no ifs. Dr. Jiang impatiently interrupted Zheng Lingling's words. "Lingling. Do you think you'll be safe if you don't do this? Have you forgotten what you've done before? If Ni Yang finds out about those things, wouldn't even one of them be enough to put you behind bars?" Zheng Lingling was stunned again. Dr. Jiang sighed deeply, speaking earnestly, "Lingling, it hasn't been easy for us to get to this point. I don't want you to give up the glory and wealth before your eyes so easily, letting it fall into someone else's hands. The hardships of over 30 years of wind and rain, only those who've experienced it could truly understand." Sun Wu quickly said, "Even for Xianjing's sake, we have to fight. Xianjing is used to living as a wealthy lady, going from luxury to frugality is hard. If she loses the Zheng family, how will she live in the future? Are you willing to let Ni Yang take away everything that belongs to Xianjing?" "Unwilling. How could Zheng Lingling be willing to let Ni Yang take away what belonged to Zheng Xianjing?" "Aunt Jiang." Zheng Lingling looked up at Dr. Jiang, "I'll listen to you." Dr. Jiang nodded in satisfaction. "I'm old, wealth and power are fleeting to me. I'm doing all this for your family of 3, Lingling. While we still have a hold over Zheng Suyu's Achilles heel, you must seize this opportunity." "Understood, I appreciate all your hard work." Zheng Lingling nodded. Meanwhile, Ni Yang had been asleep for over 2 hours, and by the time she woke up, it had already grown dark outside the window. After sleeping, Ni Yang felt much better. She washed her face in the restroom and changed into clean clothes. As Ni Yang was about to head downstairs, there was a knock at the door. "Yang Yang." It was Ni Kuihua's voice. Ni Yang went to open the door. "Mom, when did you come back?" Ni Tsuihua was holding a tray with slices of bread and milk. "I've been home for a while. Dinner won't be for a bit, have some bread to tide you over." Ni Yang picked up the bread and milk, then asked, "Did you visit Grandma?" "I did," Ni Tsuihua nodded. "Grandma doesn't seem to be doing very well." Ni Yang frowned subtly. "Is Zheng Lingling home?" "You child, how can you call her by name like that?" Ni Tsuihua continued, "It would sound so bad if others heard it." While Zheng Lingling was indeed acting duplicitously, she hadn't openly made things difficult for Ni Yang. In the eyes of others, she was still a good aunt. If someone overheard Ni Yang calling Zheng Lingling by name, they might misjudge her as an ingrate. Ni Yang knew Ni Kuihua's concerns and said with a smile, "Don't worry, I was just saying it behind her back, no one will hear." When I got back, I didn't see her. Not just her, Sun Wu wasn't home either. Zheng Suyu had just woken up the second before, and this couple had disappeared right afterward. It was almost impossible not to suspect something. Where did they go? Ni Yang took a sip of milk. "I don't know," Ni Tsuihua shook her head. "Mom, have you noticed anything strange about Zheng Lingling and Dr. Jiang?" Ni Yang continued. "What do you mean?" Ni Tsuihua asked. "Just very strange." Ni Yang finished her last sip of milk, then said, "Mom, let's go visit Grandma." "Okay," Ni Tsuihua nodded. The mother and daughter left the room and headed toward Zheng Suyu's room. Ni Tsuihua reached out to knock on the door. "Aunt Suyu, it's Tingting, may I come in?" "I'm very tired, let's talk about it tomorrow," Zheng Suyu's voice came from inside. Ni Tsuihua looked up at Ni Yang. Ni Yang shook her head. "Let's leave it for now. It was too soon to rush things with Zheng Suyu just waking up." The mother and daughter headed downstairs. As they descended, they saw Zheng Lingling and Sun Wu returning home with Zheng Xianjing. Seeing Zheng Xianjing, old lady Zheng exclaimed in surprise, "Xianjing, weren't you supposed to have classes today? Why have you come back now?" "I was fetched by my mom and dad," said Zheng Xianjing. "I heard grandma woke up, is it true?" This explained why Zheng Lingling and Sun Wu had vanished as soon as Zheng Suyu woke up. Ni Yang's lips curled subtly. This couple still had some brains. No wonder there's a saying in detective studies, those who seem the most normal are often the most abnormal. Chapter 882, Cunning Yang_4. From an outsider's perspective, this family of three had nothing remarkable about them. The husband was honest and unassuming, almost without presence. The wife was adept in socializing and took great care of the elderly. Their daughter was bright and generous, an outstanding student at a well-known university. What could possibly be wrong with such a family? Mrs. Zheng nodded and said with a smile, "It's true." Xianjing said excitedly, "That's wonderful. I'm going to go up and see great-aunt right now." Having said that, Xianjing rushed upstairs without delay. Not long after, Xianjing came back downcast. Great-aunt said she's very tired and wants to rest some more. Mrs. Zheng smiled and said, "As long as you have this filial heart, it will be the same if you visit your great-aunt tomorrow." Xianjing nodded. At mealtime, Suyu didn't come down. Mrs. Zheng instructed a servant to take the food up to Suyu. Ni Yang stood up and said, "I'll go." With that, she took the platter from the servant's hand and headed upstairs. Upon reaching Suyu's door, Ni Yang knocked. After a while, Suyu's voice came from inside, "Who is it?" Ni Yang said, "Great-aunt, I've brought you something to eat." "I'm coming in." Ni Yang turned the doorknob and entered. Suyu wasn't lying in bed but was sitting at the dressing table. Reflected in the vanity mirror was a face worn with the marks of time. "Great-aunt, it's time to eat." Ni Yang set the dishes on the table. "Grandma says these are all your old favorites. Please come and see if they suit your taste." Suyu turned and walked over. "You're Tingting's child, Yang Yang?" "Emicham." Ni Yang nodded, "Yes, it's me." Suyu smiled, her eyes inscrutable with either sorrow or joy. "When I was still lucid, Tingting was just a child. In the blink of an eye, her child is all grown up. It's like a dream." Ni Yang spoke softly, "Malarial vapors rise like fire, and time speeds like a carriage. Decades pass in a flash, and seen from another perspective, life is but a dream." Suyu gave her an astonished look. "Yang Yang, I heard it was you who cured me." Ni Yang didn't deny it but simply nodded. "Thank you," Suyu said, then added, "Have a seat yourself." Ni Yang sat down on the stool. "Great-aunt, there have been many changes outside over the years. How about I take you out for a walk tomorrow?" Suyu shook her head, "No need." "Are you avoiding something?" Ni Yang asked bluntly. Suyu's hand holding the chopsticks paused. "After raving mad for so many years, what could I possibly be avoiding? I just don't want to go out, that's all." "Like that child," Ni Yang said in a measured tone. Suyu abruptly put down her chopsticks, her eyes reddening as she said, "What are you talking about?" Ni Yang looked at Suyu. "Great-aunt, rest assured, I'm not colluding with Dr. Jiang. I'm here to help you. Please tell me, what exactly happened 30 years ago?" From the current situation, it was clear that Suyu was the only one who knew the truth. "I don't know what you're talking about." Suyu picked up her chopsticks again and continued to mechanically feed herself. Ni Yang continued, "Great-aunt, is the state you're in now the work of Dr. Jiang and Zheng Lingling? My grandma has been good to them already, why would they do this?" Suyu didn't respond to Ni Yang's words. "If you don't answer, I will take it as your agreement," Ni Yang pressed on. "Who is that child? Just give me a little clue, and am sure I can uncover the whole truth. Suyu remained silent, like a machine devoid of emotion, just eating. Yang frowned slightly and decided to use a different tactic. Judging by Suyu's reactions, what she cared about most was that child. Staying silent won't solve anything and might even harm that child. Don't tell me you're willing to watch that child meet with misfortune. From what I understand, neither Zheng Lingling nor Dr. Jiang is known for their compassion. Just then, Suyu hurriedly finished the rice in her bowl, looked up at Yang, and said, I don't understand what you're saying. What child? I don't know anything. I need to rest now. Please leave. Great Aunt, are you sure you don't want to say anything? I know that you're starting to recover your memories. There's nothing to say. Suyu pushed Yang towards the door. I don't understand anything you're saying. Chapter 883, Cunning Yang 5. You're gambling with that child's life. Yang continued, people like Dr. Jiang and Zheng Lingling, they have no credibility. Zheng Suyu pushed Yang outside and, with a thud, closed the door. Yang didn't say anything more, fearing that the noise here might attract the attention of Zheng Lingling downstairs. Zheng Suyu was far more stubborn than she had imagined. Inside the room, Zheng Suyu leaned against the door and began to weep. In the evening, Yang knocked on old Madame Zheng's door. Yang. Old Madame Zheng looked at Yang with some surprise. Yang smiled and said, I've come to bring you and Grandpa some nourishing tea. Old Madame Zheng said, Come in, come in. Your Grandpa isn't in the room. Where did Grandpa go? Yang asked. Old Madame Zheng casually closed the door. He went to talk with your great aunt, to see if she can remember anything. Yang set the tray down on the table and then said, Grandma, I came over to talk to you about great aunt's situation. Hearing this, old Madame Zheng became very anxious. What's wrong? Is there something the matter with your great aunt? Yang shook her head. No, don't worry. That's good, old Madame Zheng sighed in relief. The granddaughter and grandmother sat down on the sofa. Old Madame Zheng took a sip of the nourishing tea and smiled. This tea is good, very refreshing and without a medicinal taste, which I hate the most in teas. Upon finishing, old Madame Zheng continued, Yang, you just mentioned something about your great aunt? Yang followed up, great aunt has regained her memory. Old Madame Zheng straightened up in shock, really? Yang nodded, she's just afraid to admit it. Old Madame Zheng found this somewhat confusing. Why wouldn't she admit it? Because there's someone in the family threatening her, Yang said. Old Madame Zheng frowned slightly, someone in the family threatening her? Who would threaten your great aunt? Yang didn't hide it and directly said, I suspect it has to do with Dr. Jiang and Auntie. Dr. Jiang? Zheng Lingling? Old Madame Zheng was stunned for a moment. These two people, one had been her close friend for over 30 years, and the other was the daughter she had raised for over 30 years. Yang, how can you say that? Yang explained the situation with the child to old Madame Zheng. Grandma, I heard it very clearly at the time, it was Dr. Jiang threatening great aunt, which is why she's afraid to admit she has regained her memory. Child? Old Madame Zheng's brows furrowed deeply. Yang, is it possible you heard wrong? Your great aunt is still unmarried, how could she have a child? And, why would Dr. Jiang threaten your great aunt? What would their motive be for such actions? For a moment, old Madame Zheng struggled to believe Yang's words. In her view, Zheng Lingling and Dr. Jiang had no motive to do such things. Perhaps Yang had misunderstood. Yang said, because great aunt knows some unspeakable secrets. Grandma, do you still remember when you and Grandpa were poisoned before? Old Madame Zheng understood the implication of Yang's words, but as you said, it could have also been caused by a reaction between food and medication. She couldn't believe that Zheng Lingling would poison her. Impossible. Zheng Lingling couldn't be that heartless. Over 30 years of mother-daughter affection wasn't fake. In this world, no mother would suspect her own daughter. Even if that daughter wasn't her biological child. Grandma, I know you're a very kind person, but your kindness doesn't mean everyone is as kind as you, Ni Yang continued. Some people must be guarded against. Don't you find it strange how you and Grandpa fell ill before? Dr. Jiang is a doctor. It would be too easy for her to do something without making a sound. Old Madame Zheng sighed and followed up, Yang, I know your aunt can be a bit selfish sometimes, but her nature isn't bad, she's just a bit greedy. She's just covetous of the Zheng family's wealth. Actually, when I suspected that your mother was Tingting, I had 2 paternity tests done, and one of them was swapped by your aunt. Although old Madame Zheng hadn't spelled it out, she was well aware. At this moment, old Madame Zheng never imagined that the daughter she viewed as only slightly greedy was the one who would plunge the Zheng family into irrecoverable ruin. Chapter 884, Cunning Yang 6. People die for money, birds die for food. Your aunt feared the Zheng family's estate would all be taken by your mother. I understood this, so I prepared my will early, splitting the Zheng family's estate evenly between your aunt and your mom. Though your aunt is not my biological child, I have never treated her differently. Ni Yang looked up at Grandma Zheng. Grandma, you are a good mother, but she might not be a good daughter. With that, Ni Yang continued, I even suspect that Aunt Suyu's hysteria might be related to them as well. Having said this much, Ni Yang didn't want to keep hiding things from Grandma Zheng. Lest when the truth emerged, Grandma Zheng couldn't accept the reality. That won't be the case. Grandma Zheng shook her head. Yang, you're not a detective, you must be mistaken. Grandma, how about we make a bet? Ni Yang proposed. A bet on what? Grandma Zheng asked. On whether Dr. Jiang and Aunt Suyu are the masterminds behind this, Ni Yang said every word very seriously. Grandma Zheng smiled. Yang, you're really overthinking. I can vouch for my integrity that Dr. Jiang and your aunt aren't those kinds of people. Ni Yang slightly curled her lips. Grandma, the day when everything becomes clear hasn't come yet, it's too early to say that now. Grandma Zheng looked at Ni Yang. Yang, do you know how many years I've known Dr. Jiang? 35 years. Ever since she came back to Beijing across the Pacific Ocean with your aunt, I knew Dr. Jiang is a good person. And your aunt, I raised her myself. I know very well what kind of person she is. She could never do something so utterly heartless. For a full 35 years, Grandma Zheng couldn't believe that human nature could be so malicious. Nor could she believe that she had 2 wolves in sheep's clothing by her side. With that, Grandma Zheng continued, Yang, as you said, Dr. Jiang is a doctor. If she wanted to do something, it would be so easy. If she and Lingling truly wanted to harm me, your grandfather and I wouldn't be alive today. Ni Yang knew that no amount of talking would be useful at this time. Only when ironclad evidence was presented would Grandma Zheng believe it. Grandma, it's getting late, you should rest early, Ni Yang said. I didn't mean anything else by telling you this, just wanted you to be cautious around Dr. Jiang and Aunt Suyu. And also my aunt's husband, who seems straightforward and honest, yet he has an unknown side to him that people don't see. Otherwise, Sun Wu wouldn't have had such a good marital relationship with Zheng Lingling after so many years. Alright, I've got it, Grandma Zheng nodded. Yang, I'll take your words to heart. Despite her precautions, Grandma Zheng still couldn't believe that Zheng Lingling and Dr. Jiang were capable of such deeds. Then I'm going to rest now. Grandma Zheng escorted Ni Yang to the door. In the deep silence of the night, barely perceptible footsteps echoed through the hallway. Then, a shadow darted into Aunt Suyu's room. Who's there? Hearing noise, Aunt Suyu turned on the bedside lamp and sat up in bed, looking around warily. Aunt Suyu, it's me, Zheng Lingling approached from the side. Seeing who it was, Aunt Suyu shrank back into her bed. Zheng Lingling curled her lips upwards. It seems Aunt Jiang was right, you remembered. No, I haven't, Aunt Suyu shook her head. Zheng Lingling placed the glass bottle on the bedside table. If you want that child to be safe, you'll just have to obey. Let her go. Aunt Suyu looked up at Zheng Lingling. You'll suffer divine retribution for doing this. Zheng Lingling said with a smile, it seems you're unwilling to cooperate. Zheng Suyu suddenly fell silent. Zheng Lingling continued, divide this into 3 doses and make Ni Yang drink it. You still want to harm Yang Yang? Zheng Suyu looked incredulously at Zheng Lingling. Zheng Lingling said, Aunt Suyu, rest assured, this is not poison. Ni Yang will not be in mortal danger. If you're unwilling to cooperate, that poor child might not survive. Please, don't do this, can't you not do this? Zheng Suyu knelt on the bed, constantly kowtowing to Zheng Lingling, let her go. That child is too pitiful. I'm begging you. The doctor was right. What did being a talented woman of Beijing count for? She still ended up kneeling, fiercely trampled underfoot. Ni Yang's future would only be more miserable than Zheng Suyu's. Zheng Lingling stepped back and said, Aunt Suyu, you were once known as a talented woman in Beijing, I really can't accept such a grand gesture from you. With that, Zheng Lingling picked up the glass bottle from the table. Since you're unwilling to cooperate, I won't force you. After all, a twisted melon is not sweet. After speaking, Zheng Lingling turned and walked towards the door. She was gambling. Gambling on whether Zheng Suyu would let the child go. Wait. Zheng Suyu suddenly ran down from the bed and grabbed Zheng Lingling's sleeve. Zheng Lingling turned to look at Zheng Suyu. Aunt Suyu, do you have something else to say? I agree. Zheng Suyu stammered, I agree. I'll agree to anything. Zheng Lingling bent down to help Zheng Suyu up. Aunt Suyu, a wise man submits to circumstances. You should have agreed earlier. Don't worry, the child is living well now, no one will trouble her. Having dealt with Zheng Suyu, Zheng Lingling felt very refreshed, even still smiling as she left Zheng Suyu's room. When she reached the staircase, Zheng Lingling encountered Ni Yang. Yang Yang, what are you doing downstairs so late? Zheng Lingling narrowed her eyes. Knowing Ni Yang was not as simple as she seemed, Zheng Lingling now dared not underestimate her. Ni Yang's face was full of harmless smiles, highlighted by slight dimples. I went downstairs to get some water, dinner was too salty tonight, Auntie, are you also going downstairs for water? Zheng Lingling nodded. Yes, I'm also going downstairs for water. It's getting late, you should rest after you drink. Ni Yang turned and glanced at Zheng Lingling's back, the curve of her lips becoming more pronounced. It seemed, Zheng Lingling was not as smart as she thought. But that doctor, who knew how many times craftier he was than Zheng Lingling. Now the urgent task was to find that child quickly. Thankfully Ni Yang and Xiaozhou from the detective agency were particularly familiar. Otherwise, this matter could really be tricky. As soon as Zheng Lingling returned to her room, Sun Wu asked impatiently, how did it go, Lingling, is everything settled? So by that account, your great-aunt would be the celebrated Beijing beauty from 30 years ago? Zheng Suyu had made a strong impression in Beijing back in the day. Even now, quite a few people still remembered Zheng Suyu. Right, Ni Yang nodded, my great-aunt is Zheng Suyu. Xiaozhou said, your great-aunt used to be a great talent. My dad was particularly fond of her. So, what about your great-aunt do you want to look into? Ni Yang said, I want you to help me investigate my great-aunt's past. I want to know what exactly she went through these past 30 years. Upon hearing this, Xiaozhou continued, I've heard that your great-aunt's mental health hasn't been very good for some years, right? Zheng Suyu was indeed a person of influence before, so the Zheng family concealed her mental health issues, claiming she had gone abroad. Thus, aside from those close to the Zheng family, not many people knew of Zheng Suyu's recent state. Ni Yang didn't conceal the truth, there were indeed some issues before, but she's all right now. It's truly a case of envy of the talented. Your great-aunt used to be a legendary figure, Xiaozhou observed. Then he continued, by the way, Yang, why are you looking into your great-aunt? Ni Yang trusted Xiaozi's character and started to tell him about the affairs of the Zheng family. Moreover, since Xiaozhou was a detective, the clearer he was about certain matters, the better positioned he would be to investigate. After listening, Xiaozhou shook his head in amazement. Good Lord! Your family's situation is way too complicated. I think you'd better get out of that house as soon as possible. Ni Yang sighed. It's simple for me to leave, but what about my grandparents? You've got a point, Xiaozhou slapped his chest. Yang, leave this matter to me. I guarantee I'll investigate it thoroughly for you. Chapter 886, Those Unknown Past Events. _2. I trust you. Ni Yang took out 2 stacks of cash from his bag. What are you doing? Xiaozhou said. Down payment. Ni Yang slightly raised his eyebrows. I can't have you working for nothing. Even brothers settle accounts clearly. Ni Yang, although having a good relationship with Xiaozhou, never thought of taking advantage of him. Xiaozhou chuckled. You're reminding me of the first time we met. Back then, when he first met Ni Yang, his initial impression of her was of a very gentle beauty, but when it came to paying, she was as straightforward as a man. She paid the 300 yuan deposit without even frowning. Until now, Ni Yang was still very generous. At that time, Xiaozhou could never have imagined that one day he would become good brothers with Ni Yang. Ni Yang looked up and thought for a moment, thinking about it. We've known each other for over 2 years, right? Xiaozhou nodded and sighed. Time really flies, more than 2 years have passed in the blink of an eye. Yes, Ni Yang also seemed somewhat nostalgic. Time goes by too quickly. Xiaozhou then asked, when do you plan on tying the knot with my brother? At first, Xiaozhou wasn't optimistic about Ni Yang's relationship with Mo Qishan. Unexpectedly, over the past 2 years, instead of fading, their affection had grown even stronger. Ni Yang said, well, get it when it naturally happens, no rush for now. My brother will turn 30 after the new year. Xiaozhou was anxious for Mo Qishan. Their classmates from the same year, many of them had already married and had children. It's like you're not considering me as your brother. Ni Yang patted Xiaozi's shoulder. Don't worry, your brother and I isn't the kind of person who abandons a relationship. Xiaozhou scratched his head, but, Ni Yang looked at Xiaozhou, no buts. I remember your classmates with Mo Qishan, right? Instead of worrying about him, you should worry about yourself. Look at you, still single and without even a girlfriend, and you have the nerve to compare with Mo Qishan? Xiaozhou, that hit a nerve. The melody of Little Town Story wafted through the air, and Ni Yang continued, where did you buy this old-school phonograph? The sound quality is pretty good. From the second-hand market, Xiaozhou said, if you like, I can keep an eye out for you. Sounds good, Ni Yang nodded. These old record players are perfect for listening to operas. The times were changing, and what people currently revered were radios and televisions, and factories had long since stopped producing these old record players. It was hard to even find a place to buy them. Listening to operas? Which ones? Xiaozhou furrowed his brows slightly. Ni Yang started counting on her fingers, Peking Opera, Yu Opera, Kunku Opera, and the Huangmei Opera from Huizhou, whatever you like. Xiaozhou said speechlessly, who listens to operas these days? You're living like my mom. The 1980s was a decade where television shows and movies soared in popularity. Only the older generation enjoyed the yi-ya-ya of traditional opera. Ni Yang said with a smile, different people have different hobbies. By the way, remember to take care of that matter for me, I have to go now. No problem, Xiaozhou saw Ni Yang out to the door. When do you think you'll have it figured out? Ni Yang continued to ask. Xiaozhou thought for a moment and then continued, as long as it happened in Sijou City, there's nothing I can't find out. I should have some results in about 2 or 3 days. It's just that the overseas stuff is a bit troublesome. Ni Yang nodded, okay, I got it. Goodbye. Seeing Ni Yang still riding that old bicycle, Xiaozhou said, Ni, you've made quite a bit of money, why are you still riding this beat-up old bike? What beat-up old bike? Ni Yang said, I bought this bike just 2 years ago, it's still new, okay. Ni Yang took good care of things, her bicycle was almost as good as new. Xiaozhou continued, I think only a small car is worthy of your status. Others might not know about Ni Yang's current wealth, but Xiaozhou was well aware. Ni Yang had many businesses under her, including a noodle restaurant, milk tea shop, skincare shop, and the prestigious restaurant Phoenix among others. She was the undisputed number one amongst all women in Sijou City, and even looking across the whole of China, it was difficult to find a woman on par with Ni Yang. Although the small car is good, Ni Yang said, it doesn't have the deep connection that I have with my little Phoenix. Chapter 887, Those Unknown Past Events. _3. From having nothing to having everything, this bicycle had witnessed Ni Yang's growth, so she was reluctant to replace it. Little Phoenix? Xiaozhou was stunned for a moment. Ni Yang patted the bicycle seat, yes, this is it. Only then did Xiaozhou realize that it was a Phoenix brand bicycle. After leaving the detective agency, Ni Yang went to the bank, withdrew 30,000 yuan, and then rode to Jinghua village. The cement road in Jinghua village had been finished, now cars and agricultural vehicles could drive directly into the village, and during rainy days, the villagers no longer had to worry about the muddied mud road. It had been a long time since she last visited Jinghua village, and coming here again, she felt an indescribable sense of closeness. As soon as she arrived at the entrance of the village, someone recognized Ni Yang. Yang is back. Ni Yang quickly jumped off her bicycle, Aunt Wang. Aunt Wang looked behind Ni Yang. Yang, your parents and Yunyun didn't come back with you? No, Ni Yang shook her head, my grandma's place had some issues recently, my parents couldn't come back, and I am here to settle accounts with everyone. I just happened to run into you, could you please go back and tell everyone to come to my house to settle the accounts? The raw materials for the ice skin jade skin were all selected from the aloe vera, roses, and portulaca grown by the villagers of Jinghua village, so Ni Yang settled accounts with everyone every 6 months. Aunt Wang smiled and said, since you're all busy, don't rush back here, we're not waiting on the money. Ni Yang felt a bit embarrassed, we had originally agreed to settle on the 1st of July and the 1st of January, and it's already been over 10 days late. Aunt Wang, I'll head back first, please have everyone bring their account books to my house. Aunt Wang nodded. Although Ni Yang and Ni Tsuhua had moved to the Zheng family, Ni Chenggui still lived here. Ni Chenggui was a diligent man, he not only kept his own yard spotlessly clean but also took great care of Ni Yang's yard. Thus, Ni Yang didn't need to clean up anything upon her return. After a while, there was some noise outside the door. Ni Yang opened the courtyard gate, and it was Grandma Wu. Grandma Wu, please come in. Yang, you haven't eaten yet, have you? Here are some red plums that aren't sour at all, try them. I've also made a few meat biscuits for you, they're still warm. Grandma Wu's family used to be very poor, often unable to afford a full meal, but ever since Ni Yang arrived in Jinghua village, their lives had gradually improved. Hearing that Ni Yang had returned, Grandma Wu, without a second thought, picked the last few red plums from the tree and hurriedly made some meat biscuits, fearing that Yang would be hungry. The red plums were what Grandma Wu had reluctantly saved for her grandson who was studying away from home. Now that Yang was back, everything, including her own grandson, had to step aside. "Thank you, Grandma Wu." Yang didn't bother to check if the plums were washed, she just picked one up and took a bite. Grandma Wu cheerfully said, "You child, why be so formal with Grandma Wu? Are the plums sweet?" "Sweet. Very sweet." After a while, more and more people gathered in the small courtyard. Everyone was just like Grandma Wu, afraid that Yang might be hungry. One brought dough twists, another brought duck soup. When everyone had arrived, Yang began to settle the accounts. "Uncle Lin, your family earned a total of 580 yuan for the first half of the year, see if that's correct." Yang handed Uncle Lin 580 yuan. Uncle Lin chuckled, "No need to count, Yang, I trust you." "Aunt Chow, your family's is 526 yuan. Grandma Wu, your family's is 600 yuan. Holding the hefty stacks of cash, everyone was very happy. In the past, when they were still planting rice, after paying their taxes, they could barely earn 100 yuan a year, but now, they could make 5 to 600 yuan in just half a year, and of that 5 to 600 yuan, they only needed to pay about 10 yuan for taxes. How could they not be happy? Jinghua village had exactly 50 households. After distributing money to everyone, the 30,000 yuan Yang withdrew was left with just over 100 yuan. After finishing the accounts, Yang took a stroll through the factory at the back. Though she hadn't been in Jinghua village in these days, the factory had been still operating, having grown from a dozen people to now over 20. Once she confirmed everything was in order, Yang took some grain and oils and other daily necessities over to Grandma Liu's house. Zheng Xianjing's mouth curled into a smug arc. "This is perfect. No more having to see that wretched woman." Zheng Lingling patted Zheng Xianjing's hand. "I've always told you, rural bumpkins like Yang are only fit to carry your shoes." What was Yang? In front of Zheng Xianjing, Yang wasn't even worth as much as a mud ball. Zheng Xianjing continued, "Mom, why didn't you just kill that little wench Yun as well? It's so annoying to see that little wench." Zheng Xianjing's detest for little Yun was no less than her detest for Yang. Every time she saw little Yun, she was reminded of her own childhood. Back then, the old Master Zheng wouldn't even spare her a glance. She thought it was because the old Master Zheng didn't like children. But now? The old Master Zheng couldn't wait to hold little Yun in the palm of his hand. What did this mean? Every time she saw this scene, Zheng Xianjing was consumed by jealousy. Zheng Lingling looked at Zheng Xianjing and said, "It's a pity your grandma Jiang has always praised you for being intelligent. How did you become so foolish this time? Yun is only 2 years old this year, what threat could she pose? Our biggest enemy right now is Yang. As long as we deal with Yang, are you afraid we can't handle that little wretch?" Zheng Xianjing said, "Anyway, dealing with one is dealing with two is also dealing, might as well take care of them both at once. To take care of two at once, the target is too big, it would easily attract police attention." Zheng Lingling poked Zheng Xianjing's forehead. "You child, why don't you think about the consequences of your actions? You can't be so impulsive in the future." "I know." Zheng Xianjing nodded and then asked, "Mom, when will Yang die?" She couldn't wait to take care of Yang's body. Zheng Lingling replied, "Your grandma Jiang said, this substance requires 3 doses to be lethal. Today was the first time, there are still 2 more to go." She filled 2 pages but felt she hadn't written anything substantial. The next day, for a change, Yang slept in. She normally woke up at 7 o'clock but did not get up until 8:30 that morning. After 9 o'clock, Yang came downstairs, yawning. Zheng Lingling asked with concern, Yang, why did you get up so late this morning? While yawning, Yang replied, I don't know what happened last night. I fell asleep as soon as I hit the bed, but I just couldn't get up this morning. It was very uncomfortable. Zheng Lingling followed up, Yang, do you want to go to the hospital and have it checked? Yang gestured with a wave of her hand, no need. I am a doctor myself, I know my own body. A sarcastic gleam appeared in Zheng Lingling's eyes upon hearing those words. Yang was indeed intelligent, but she was overly confident. She thought herself clever, unaware that overcleverness could lead to mistakes. That night, Zheng Suyu, again complaining of feeling unwell, had Yang come to her room. This time, Zheng Suyu poured Yang a cup of clear tea. Yang, as usual, drank every last drop. Zheng Suyu looked at Yang, wanting to speak but eventually said very little. The next morning, Yang, who normally didn't wear makeup, sat in front of the vanity, dabbing and smearing. Soon after, Yang appeared in the dining room, her face pale. Old Master Zheng was startled, Yang, why do you look so terrible? Yang touched her face unconsciously, I probably haven't slept well these past few days. Don't worry about it, Grandpa. Suehua also noticed something off with Yang, do you want your master to check on you? No need, Yang said with a smile. I'm a doctor myself, Mom, Grandma, you don't have to worry. Shengguan Dehui put down his chopsticks, there's a saying, a doctor who treats himself has a fool for a patient. Yang, I think you should let your master take a look. It's really nothing, Yang waved her hands. Grandma Zheng said worriedly, Yang, do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? If you don't want to visit your master, we can ask Dr. Jiang to come over and check on you. Looking at the room full of people concerned for Yang, Zheng Xianjing wished she could smash the vegetables in her bowl. She would let this despicable woman be pleased for a bit longer since she was soon to meet the king of hell. Yang helplessly said, Grandpa, Grandma, Dad, Mom, I'm really fine. You don't need to be so worried. After the meal, leaving the Zheng family, Yang took the letter she had written the night before and mailed it at the post office. Leaving the post office, Yang made a trip to the detective agency. Xiaozhou was extremely efficient. In just 3 days, he had thoroughly gathered the past of Zheng Suyu. Yang benefited greatly from this trip. Thank you so much. Xiaozhou raised his hand, if we're brothers, then don't mention it. But speaking of which, your grandmother really surprised me, I hadn't expected that she. Yang tucked the information into her bag inside, she's also a pitiable person. How come you look so pale? Xiaozhou just then noticed that something was off with Yang's face. Yang nonchalantly replied, it's a minor issue, it'll be fine in a few days. Leaving the detective agency, remembering Imo Kishin's request, Yang then went to see Master Du. Unusually, Master Du wasn't chanting in the Buddha hall today. When Yang arrived, Master Du was sitting in the study room, holding black and white pieces, playing against himself. Even more amazing was that the black and white pieces were evenly matched, unable to determine a winner. Yang didn't disturb him, but instead wandered around the study, planning to pick a book to read. While searching for a book, Yang unexpectedly discovered that Master Du had a habit of collecting newspapers. From 50 years ago to this morning's issue. And all of them were about murder cases. Yang wasn't interested in murder cases, but her eyes caught a line of text, and she pulled out that newspaper, Suzhou City Evening News. Yesterday morning, an unidentified infant girl's body was found on the riverbank near the ferry crossing. Chapter 891, She Died. The newspaper date was from a summer 25 years ago. August 9th. At that time, newspapers were still black and white, because there was no PS mosaic technology, so one could clearly see the infant girl's features and clothes. The infant girl even wore 2 golden bracelets. From this, it could be deduced that the infant came from a wealthy family. Yang slightly furrowed her brows, folded up the newspaper, and looked back at Du. Brother Du, may I borrow this newspaper for a moment? Du didn't directly answer Yang's request but said instead, come here for a moment. Yang walked over. Du looked down at the chess game, which had reached a deadlock, his brow furrowed deeply. What do you think the black piece should do next? On the chessboard, the black and white pieces were equally matched, each not willing to concede a step, clearly having reached a mutually destructive scenario. Du was truly a mystical person, playing against himself and still managing to create such a situation. Yang leaned slightly forward, a strand of black hair slipping from beside her ear. Her pale fingertips picked up a sparkling, translucent black piece, obsidian shining under the light, accentuating her already fair fingertips, at that moment resembling top-grade mutton fat jade, as she placed the piece in the center of the board. Just one move. The situation on the board shifted instantly. Finding new hope when all seemed lost. A flash of surprise flickered in Du's eyes, then he raised his hand and placed a white piece. What had been a hopeful situation reversed in an instant. Life was like chess, and chess mirrored life. Yang lightly curled her lips, casually picking up a black piece and gently tapping it onto the board. Click. The sound of the obsidian piece falling onto the jade chessboard was particularly pleasant. You've lost. Yang lightly lifted her gaze. Du sighed, yes, I've lost. He had pondered over the game for a long time, thinking it unsolvable, yet Yang resolved it with merely 2 pieces. It was uncertain whether he was too foolish, or if Yang was too clever. This is what they call the observer sees clearer. By the way, may I borrow this newspaper for a few days? Yang lifted the newspaper in her hand. Du had asked what she needed it for, then slightly nodded, take it. Thank you, Yang continued, believing in Buddhism, chanting scriptures, raising birds, collecting newspapers. Brother Du, your hobbies are quite extensive. Overpraised, Du replied in a tone lacking emotion. As he spoke, Du continued, by the way, ever since that time, your duo has almost come here every day. Really? Yang was somewhat surprised. She had thought that the experience had left a profound shadow in Duo's heart, and that Duo would never come here again. After all, even though Duo was a bird, it held grudges even better than humans. Du nodded. The weather's nice outside today, not too hot, and there's a breeze. Would you like to go out for a walk? When Yang arrived, she heard from the butler that Du hadn't left his house in several days. Du lifted his head and glanced outside, then let's stroll in the garden. Yang tucked the newspaper into her bag, sounds good. The two of them walked out one after the other. At this season, the garden was bursting with flowers, the gentle breeze carrying wafts of floral scent, making for a refreshing walk among the blooming flowers. After a round, Yang felt something was missing. Where's Sister Jiao? Usually, when she visited Deming Xian, Du Jiao would always be present. She might be in her room, Du suggested. At the same time, the assistant following Du quietly slipped away. Oh, Yang nodded slightly. Just then, a black shadow flew over from a distance. Yang. Yang looked up and smiled. Duo. Yang. Duo flew straight to Yang's shoulder, rubbing its small head against her chin. After throwing a small tantrum, Duo looked at Du, you little bastard. Yang gently tapped Duo's head. Duo, you can't be so rude. You little bastard. Yang slightly furrowed her brows. Son, if you continue being rude like this, Mum won't give you treats anymore. You little bastard. Ni Yang slightly squinted her eyes, furiously glaring. Say it again. You little bastard. You're getting bold. Ni Yang poked Duoduo's small head sternly. Try saying it again. You little bastard. Ni Yang was infuriated. Du glanced sideways at Ni Yang, a faint smile playing on his lips. It's just a bird, why bother stooping to its level? Ni Yang, feeling somewhat embarrassed, said, It comes here every day, surely it isn't just a curse at you? I swear, I didn't teach it anything. Chapter 892, She Died. _2. Duo is, after all, her bird. It would be so embarrassing if Master Du thought, like Mo Baichuan, that Shed used it to deliberately attract his attention. Liege is the most human-like and vindictive among birds, said Master Du, his expression indifferent, not taking the matter to heart at all. Hearing this, Ni Yang breathed a sigh of relief. People really are different. Duo seemed to understand Master Du's words, glaring with a pair of shiny, black eyes, and fiercely said, You little bastard. Shut up. Ni Yang smacked Duo lightly. You're not allowed to talk like that anymore. Duo flew onto Master Du's shoulder. You little bastard. Master Du wasn't angry. Instead, he casually pinched a green caterpillar and handed it to Duo. Across an artificial lake. The butler, accompanied by a young man, was walking over. Seeing this scene, the young man exclaimed in surprise, Is that really Master Du feeding the bird? At the moment the liege made its outrageous remarks, he thought Master Du would crush it. Unexpectedly, Master Du fed the liege a caterpillar with a gentle look in his eyes. It was hard to believe that this was the same Master Du, ruthless and unfeeling, who wouldn't even spare his own brothers. When had he ever shown such tenderness? It's just too unbelievable. Could it be that he was hallucinating? The butler nodded. You're not seeing things. The young man went on to ask, Who is that young lady? She is Mr. Peiji's girlfriend, Miss Ni, the butler answered. The young man nodded and asked uncertainly, Butler, did the liege just call Master Du a little bastard? The butler calmly nodded. You heard correctly. The young man swallowed hard. Whose bird is that, liege? Miss Nis, said the butler. The young man stealthily pinched the inside of his thigh. Ouch! It really hurt. He wasn't dreaming. The young man hurriedly stopped and said, Butler Lin, I suddenly remembered I have some matters to deal with. I'll visit Master Du another day. After speaking, he left as though fleeing. He didn't dare to provoke Master Du at this time. Butler Lin watched the young man's retreating figure, shrugged helplessly. The sun was getting bigger and hotter. Standing under the shade of trees, Master Du played with the bird in the cage, while Ni Yang sat at the stone table under the pavilion, eating sunflower seeds. A breeze blew over the artificial lake, causing the lotus flowers and leaves to sway left and right. The beautiful koi fish swam underneath the leaves. Squinting at the artificial lake, Ni Yang's long lashes cast a light shadow on her eyelids, as if thinking of something. A faint smile played on her lips. Just then, Du Jiaojiao came running from a distance. Yang. Sister Jiaojiao. Ni Yang stood up and waved to Du Jiaojiao. Third brother, do you want to come down with us? Du Yi shook his head. I'll pass on this excitement. Boring. Du Jiaojiao rolled her eyes at Du Yi. Then she turned to Ni Yang. Let's go, Yang. The lotus flowers in the lake weren't dense, and a small boat could just make its way through. The lotus leaves were tall, and after a while, the small boat disappeared into the endless green where the lotus leaves reached the sky. It was indeed not hot among the lotus leaves. Ni Yang and Du Jiaojiao not only picked many lotus flowers and pods but also spotted a nest of wild duck eggs, which they left untouched. Before long, the servants returned with the boat laden with their harvest. While picking lotus pods, Ni Yang accidentally got her shoes wet. Thankfully, it was summer, so she took off her shoes, rolled up her trouser legs a bit below the knees, revealing a stretch of fair and lovely calves that stood out strikingly amid the green lotus leaves. She was now very glad she hadn't worn a cheongsam today, otherwise, it would have been awkward. Seeing Ni Yang taking off her shoes to wash her feet at the bow, Du Jiaojiao also sat down and took off her shoes. Shielded by the lotus leaves and with the lake water cool and refreshing, it was extremely comfortable. Du Jiaojiao sighed, "This is so comfortable. Hey, race a lotus seed for you." Ni Yang handed a peeled lotus seed to Du Jiaojiao. "Thank you," Du Jiaojiao expressed her gratitude. The fresh lotus seeds were very sweet but not heavy, quite refreshing. "So delicious." Ni Yang nodded. "Indeed they are. There's always a lot to talk about when two young girls get together." Although Du Jiaojiao was already in her 30s this year, her spirit remained youthful. Feeling hot, Du Jiaojiao had the servants row the boat around the lake several times before heading back. Before going ashore, Ni Yang put on her shoes and let down her trouser legs. Chapter 894, She Died. _4. She held a large bundle of lotus flowers and pods, standing at the bow of the boat, just like a lotus fairy stepping out of a painting. Gracefully poised. Once ashore, Ni Yang and Du Jiaojiao sat together eating lotus seeds for a while before Ni Yang proposed saying goodbye. "Brother Du, Sister Jiaojiao, I have to leave now," Ni Yang said, then turned to Grandpa Du, "You should come out more when you're free. Getting more sunlight not only reduces the chance of catching a cold and boosts immunity, but also protects vascular health." "Okay." Grandpa Du nodded. "Duo, I'm heading back," Ni Yang waved at Duo. Duo jumped onto the other shoulder of Grandpa Du, unwilling to leave. Duo. Ni Yang called again. Duo still didn't want to leave. Grandpa Du laughed, "You go ahead, it's missing the treats I have here." These days, Grandpa Du had provided countless treats for Duo. But Duo was a typical ungrateful wretch. Right after eating Grandpa Du's food, it would curse him as a little bastard. With Duo refusing to accompany her, Ni Yang had to go back alone. Yang, wait a moment." Du Jiaojiao grabbed a handful of lotus flowers and pods and chased after Ni Yang. "What is it, Sister Jiaojiao?" Ni Yang turned around. Du Jiaojiao stuffed the lotus flowers and pods into Ni Yang's hands. "Take these." "Thank you." "What are you thanking me for?" "You picked them yourself, I'm just presenting Buddha with borrowed flowers," Du Jiaojiao smiled. "Sister Jiaojiao, then I'll leave first." Ni Yang shook the lotus flowers and pods in her hand. "Okay," Du Jiaojiao waved to her. Watching Ni Yang's retreating figure, Du Jiaojiao sighed, "Ah, to be young is wonderful." Grandpa Du glanced at Du Jiaojiao, "You are not old either." "I'm already 36. Du Jiaojiao shot Grandpa Du a look. Then, Du Jiaojiao added, "I feel something was off with Yang today. Did you see?" Her face was quite pale, but thankfully, she seemed to be in good spirits. "I didn't notice," Grandpa Du said whilst feeding a worm to Duo. Du Jiaojiao looked at Grandpa Du, then asked, "What do you think about Yang?" "She's fine," Grandpa Du replied indifferently. "And do you think she's pretty?" Grandpa Du kept his expression neutral, nodding slightly. Du Jiaojiao narrowed her eyes, "Do you have a crush on Ni Yang?" Grandpa Du fed another worm to Duo. "Older sister, you are already 36 this year, can't you stop making me feel like you're only 6? You're 6. Du Jiaojiao fluffed up like an angry rooster, "Your whole family is 6. Grandpa Du laughed, that includes you too. Du Jiaojiao was momentarily speechless, then she said, I read a book today that said every person experiences emotions and youthful infatuations. Chapter 896, She Died. _6. She thought, she shouldn't make any more mistakes. She couldn't make any more mistakes. Zheng Suyu stared at the greens in front of her as if she had made a secret decision. After dinner, Ni Yang dragged her heavy feet upstairs. After returning to her room, Zheng Suyu didn't use the excuse of feeling unwell to seek out Ni Yang anymore. Zheng Lingling had been observing Zheng Suyu all along, and seeing that there was no movement on Zheng Suyu's side, she became anxious. Seeing that Ni Yang was about to die, yet Zheng Suyu made no further moves, how could she not be anxious? Zheng Lingling took a bowl of chicken soup from the kitchen and carried it to Zheng Suyu's room. Aunt Suyu, I've brought you some chicken soup. Zheng Lingling knocked on the door. Hearing Zheng Lingling's voice, Zheng Suyu was startled. I am already asleep. Zheng Lingling softly said, Aunt Suyu, I know you haven't slept yet. You didn't eat much tonight, so I specifically brought you some chicken soup. Zheng Suyu's face turned pale. She walked over from inside and tremblingly opened the door for Zheng Lingling. Aunt Suyu, I'll leave the chicken soup here. Zheng Suyu stood there, her hands nervously crossed together. Aunt Suyu, why didn't you go to see Ni Yang today? Zheng Lingling turned her head to look at Zheng Suyu. When you're ill, you should see a doctor, did you forget about that today? Zheng Suyu's eyes reddened as she looked up, I can't harm people, please, can't we stop this? Sure. Zheng Lingling grinned, since you've given up on that child now, don't regret it later. The last 4 words made Zheng Suyu shudder all over. What should she do? What should she do now? Zheng Lingling continued, Aunt Suyu, it's late, I'll head back first. As for the rest, you'd better think it through. For someone like Zheng Suyu, all talk was useless if it wasn't to the point. I'll go out with you. Zheng Suyu followed Zheng Lingling's steps. Zheng Lingling looked back at Zheng Suyu, feigning ignorance. Aunt Suyu, why are you following me? Zheng Suyu said, I'm feeling unwell and am going to see Miss Yang Yang for treatment. That's more like it. Zheng Lingling said, pleased, Aunt Suyu, you are an educated and smart person, you should know that a wise man submits to circumstances. The two left together. Zheng Lingling headed towards her own room, while Zheng Suyu walked towards Ni Yang's room. Ni Yang sat in front of the dressing mirror, with a reflection showing a pale face. This face worried Ni Tsuehua, let alone how fearful she felt looking at herself. After a while, Ni Yang looked up at the clock again. Something was off. Very off. Yesterday at this time, she had finished a cup of tea, but today Zheng Suyu hadn't made a single move. Just as Ni Yang was lost in her thoughts, there came a knocking at the door. Chapter 899, Ni Tsuehua, like old Mrs. Zheng, hugged little Ni Yun and cried until she was gasping for breath. Little Ni Yun still didn't understand what life and death meant, and said blankly, Mommy, why are you crying? Why won't sister talk to me? Hearing this, old Mrs. Zheng cried even harder. At this critical moment, only old Mr. Zheng kept a portion of his composure, nodding weakly, "All right, then I'll trouble you, Lingling." Zheng Lingling shook her head, "It's not a bother. I am Yang Yang's aunt, this is what I should do. Dad, please try to console Mom and ask her not to cry. Her health isn't good to begin with. If she harms her health from crying, Yang Yang won't be able to rest in peace down below." Dr. Jiang stepped forward and said, "Then I won't go home tonight either. Just in case something happens to Aching, they'll be nearby to take care of her." Old Mr. Zheng continued nodding. With Ni Yang's death, the entire Zheng family's atmosphere was extremely oppressive. Zheng Xianjing didn't dare reveal her true feelings, and only when the door was closed could she laugh out loud. "Mom, it's great. Ni Yang is finally dead." Zheng Lingling said with a smile, "That little bitch deserved to die long ago. I'm going to call your dad now and tell him to come back quickly. Dad will be very happy when he hears this news," Zheng Xianjing continued. "Mom, do we really have to keep a vigil for Ni Yang tonight?" Even though Zheng Xianjing was malicious, she was still a woman in her 20s. She had never kept a vigil for the dead before, and facing such an occasion for the first time, she couldn't help feeling panicked. Moreover, Ni Yang had been killed by them. Zheng Xianjing had just recently finished watching a Hong Kong-style ghost movie. Zheng Lingling nodded, "Although Ni Yang is dead, we can't take it lightly. We still have to maintain appearances." Now was the most vulnerable time for the Zheng family, and it was the perfect opportunity for them to show their good side. "Mom, do you think Ni Yang will turn into a vengeful ghost and come for our lives?" Zheng Xianjing asked fearfully. Zheng Lingling laughed outright, "Silly child, there are no such things as ghosts in this world. If there really were ghosts in this world, who knows how many times she would have died already." Zheng Lingling never believed in superstitions. "Really?" Zheng Xianjing swallowed nervously. "Really," Zheng Lingling nodded, then added, "I've lived for more than 40 years, I've crossed more bridges than you've walked roads. If there really were ghosts, wouldn't I have seen one by now? All right, Xianjing, don't scare yourself." Chapter 900, Shangguan Dehui, looking exhausted, came downstairs and said to Zheng Lingling, "Mom and Dad were too heartbroken during the day and have already fallen asleep. Tingting isn't doing too well either. It's tough for you, brother-in-law, and Xianjing to take care of Yang Yang here." Zheng Lingling nodded her head, "Dehui, rest assured, I'll take good care of Yang Yang. You should go take care of Tingting. I'm worried Yang Yang might not be able to cope with the loss." Sun Wu said, "Brother-in-law, we are all one family, there's no need for talk of hardship. Yang Yang's sudden departure has left all of us deeply saddened. To think such a good child could just sigh, it really seems like the good die young." Shangguan Dehui painfully pinched his temples, maybe that was just Yang Yang's fate. After pausing, he continued, "Sister, brother-in-law, I'll go upstairs first then. Go on, get some sleep. You'll feel better. The deceased has passed on, the living must go on." Shangguan Dehui turned and went back upstairs. In a blink of an eye, only Zheng Lingling, Zheng Xianjing, and Sun Wu, the family of 3, were left in the spacious side hall. The night grew ever darker. It was already deep into the night. Though it was already June, which should be a hot season, there was a bone-chilling coldness in the air. The Zheng family house fell into an eerie silence, without a single sound to be heard. Zheng Xianjing huddled her shoulders, "Mom, I'm a bit scared." For some reason, she always felt something was off, as if a pair of eyes were staring at her from somewhere. "What's there to be afraid of?" Zheng Lingling said nonchalantly, "Aren't Mom and Dad here?" Sun Wu said, "Xianjing, you must do great things in the future. How can you be so scared by just a corpse?" Just at that moment, footsteps sounded from behind them. In the dead of silence, the faint sound of footsteps seemed extraordinarily terrifying. Zheng Xianjing swallowed hard and quickly hid behind Zheng Lingling, nearly knocking over the burning brazier, her face ashen. Xianjing, what's wrong? Why are you so frightened? A familiar voice filled the air. Zheng Xianjing turned her head to see that it was Dr. Jiang, and she let out a sigh of relief. It wasn't a ghost. Knowing everyone else was asleep, Zheng Lingling dropped the pretense and said with a smile, "This child is afraid of ghosts." Dr. Jiang walked over to Zheng Xianjing. "Xianjing, Grandma Jiang tells you that there are no ghosts in this world, there's nothing for you to be afraid of." "Okay," Zheng Xianjing nodded. Zheng Lingling then said, "Auntie Jiang, they won't even let us publish the obituary. When can Ni Yang be taken for cremation?" Chapter 901, Tap Tap Tap. Footsteps floated through the air, light and ethereal. In the darkness, a vague figure could be seen, dressed in a plain white cheongsam. This was Ni Yang. Zheng Xianjing turned to look at the spirit bed, only to see that the corpse that had been there was now gone. Thud. Thud. Her heart pounded violently against her ribcage, as if it could leap out at any moment. Once, again, and yet again. Zheng Xianjing shook Sun Wu hard, her voice trembling as she cried, "Dad, Dad. It's Ni Yang. Ni Yang has come back." Sun Wu was also terribly frightened, but he kept reassuring himself, "Hallucination. Hallucination. This must be a hallucination." As the figure drew closer, the faces of Zheng Lingling and Dr. Jiang paled. She had come back. Ni Yang had really come back. Ni Yang had come back for revenge. Zheng Suyu sat on the ground, watching Ni Yang approach step by step, crying out, "Yang Yang, is that you? Have you come back?" "It is I." Her voice was as faint as ever, but within that faintness, there was a bizarre sense of emptiness, as if coming from the abyss of hell, chilling to the core. "The loneliness of the road to the underworld is too much to bear alone. I've come to take you with me, to walk together. I don't want to die. I don't want to die." Zheng Xianjing couldn't bear to look directly at Ni Yang and collapsed on the floor, curling up into a ball. "No, it wasn't me who killed you. If anyone should go, it should be this madwoman alone. This has nothing to do with us." Zheng Lingling's teeth chattered. Ni Yang slowly turned her face, mechanical-like. Under the dim light, her features were indiscernible, only a pair of eyes devoid of any pupils visible, the whites of her eyes laced with red veins, utterly devoid of vitality. Terrifying. She looked no different from the female ghosts in popular Hong Kong horror films. "My death was so horrible, so horrific," she extended her finger towards them, her voice tragic, "You, and you, and you, and none of you will escape, you're all going to accompany me." Her voice seemed coated with a layer of chill, piercing through them. This horrifying visual onslaught plunged them into endless fear. Time seemed to stand still. A debtor for every debt. "Your death has nothing to do with us." Dr. Jiang restrained the panic within her, continuing, "The one who poisoned you was Zheng Suyu. We were just here to watch over you." "Ha!" A pale, icy-cold hand clasped directly on Dr. Jiang's neck, slowly lifting her. The sudden onset of suffocation turned Dr. Jiang's face red, her throat felt as if it was being crushed, the pain was unbearable, excruciatingly so. Chapter 902, but now, this family of three had the audacity to bite back. There was a world of difference between stepping forward voluntarily and being pushed out. At that moment, Dr. Jiang's anger was ignited. The ugliness of human nature was fully displayed. Woo-woo. Dr. Jiang painfully struggled. Do you have something to say? Ni Yang asked softly, lowering her eyes. Woo-woo. Dr. Jiang nodded. Ni Yang slowly released her. Fine, then I'll let you speak your mind. Dr. Jiang fell to the ground with a thud, her neck now marked by 5 distinct finger marks, gasping heavily. Regaining a bit of strength, she backhanded Zheng Lingling with a slap. Slap. I'll kill you today, you ungrateful daughter. I worked tirelessly to bring you from country to Beijing, to give you the life of a pampered lady, to eat and drink well every day. And this is how you repay me. Wretch. You're just a wretch. The one who deserves to go to hell, the one who deserves to be fried in oil is you. Wretch. Zheng Lingling was first slapped by Dr. Jiang, then wrestled with her. In that instant, all blood relations and familial love disintegrated. Shattered. It's all your fault. If it weren't for your disgraceful schemes of replacing the peach with the plum and the baby swapping, I would never have ended up in the Zheng family. If I hadn't come to the Zheng family, I wouldn't have been haunted by evil spirits today. I wouldn't have been haunted, and our family of 3 wouldn't be in mortal danger. It's all your fault. All because of you, you evil woman. Ungrateful daughter. Ungrateful daughter. Dr. Jiang angrily said, I, Jiang Yan, have been clever all my life, only to find that I've raised a thankless wretch. Today, I will strangle you to cleanse our Jiang family. She had tried her best to give Zheng Lingling a good life, yet, instead of being grateful, Zheng Lingling had blamed her. Thankless wretches. All of them, thankless wretches. Scoundrel. You don't deserve to be my daughter. Dr. Jiang was truly furious, her handling of Zheng Lingling's hair messy and chaotic, with broken hair all over the floor. The air was tinged with a faint smell of blood. Fearing that Zheng Lingling might get hurt, Sun Wu also joined in. The 3 wrestled together. Bang bang bang. Surrounding vases and antique pieces shattered. At some unknown moment, the crystal lamp above their heads turned on, but the brawlers did not notice and continued to scuffle. Someone. Close the door. An aged yet powerful voice echoed through the air. Then came the sound of orderly footsteps. Bang! All doors and windows of the side hall were shut. Dr. Jiang turned to look at old Mrs. Zheng. She wore fine silks, had a crowd of people always attending her, and a husband who treasured her like a gem. Me? At 20, I was abandoned, left to give birth alone, living under someone else's roof, worrying every day whether I'd have enough to eat. Her? She wouldn't eat leftovers, washed her hands with yuan per bucket sterilized water, and even her family's pet dog ate better than I did. Tell me, why wouldn't I behave this way? Actually, life abroad hadn't been easy for Dr. Jiang. The cost of living overseas was very high. She was too embarrassed to keep asking Zhao Lan for money, so she adopted a work-study approach, and the seeds of hatred were quietly sown then. And Zhao Lan? She didn't offer money when she saw Dr. Jiang wasn't asking for it. Zhao Lan never cared whether she had eaten enough or had money to spend. She envied Zhao Lan. Why should Zhao Lan have everything without doing anything, while she, who worked so hard, couldn't have the life she wanted? After completing her studies smoothly, Zhao Lan married a man of Chinese descent who had pursued her for a long time. Dr. Jiang too started a relationship with a classmate. A year later, they each had a daughter, one after the other. Dr. Jiang thought she could finally settle down, but she hadn't anticipated that her partner would be faithless. After their daughter was born, he completely disappeared. Seeing her plight, Zhao Lan let her and her daughter move into her residence. But Dr. Jiang didn't need Zhao Lan's sympathy. Living under Zhao Lan's roof, she watched Zhao Lan's family lead a blissfully happy life, and she nearly went mad with jealousy. Every day, she cursed Zhao Lan and her family to die. Finally, one day, her curses came true. Zhao Lan's family died in a plane crash, both spouses died instantly, leaving behind the young Chao Lingrui. It was then that Dr. Jiang knew her opportunity had arrived. You're tuning in to the Unparalleled SwordWill YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.